Oh, what's up, you guys? And welcome back to the Back and Bone Show. This one was a lot of fun. We recorded this last week. It was the first day of my family vacation out to Santa Cruz. Woo! I know, good times. So I was already in, I was on a mission of self-destruction. Like the whole time I was putting away just glasses of whiskey while Matt was sitting there like a gentleman sipping on his Tivana. But I want to apologize real quick. When you guys are checking this out right now, the first half an hour is a little bit rough. We get a lot of audio dropouts due to technical difficulties with my laptop. It's a kind of an old model. It has a hard time supporting dual mics. But that's what our patron page is for. If you guys want to hear us produce some cleaner podcasts that have better audio quality and less slip ups, shoot us a little donation. Everything we get there is going to go to improving the podcast and making putting funds aside for more trips so we can have more meetups and actually set up a better timeline for our release dates. For instance, this one we recorded it right before the Amanda Nunes Raquel Pennington fight. So we're gonna talk about that and have predictions and expectations about that event. But you guys have already seen that by now. So on the next one, which comes out next week, you're going to hear our review on it. But, we're a little late to the game on that. But still, you guys aren't coming here for news. You're coming here to hear what we have to say about shit. So that's not too bad. Most of the content on this one today is going to be a lot of we're going to bounce around with a lot of movies and TV shows we've been talking about. Pretty standard formula in that sense, but still it's again, it's what you're doing here. So I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to our friend, our listener and follower, Punker Mike. We really appreciate the comments and the suggestions. Gives us a lot of material to work on, some points to anchor with that we can provide more content off of. We give you about a 40-minute review on Slaughter High, as requested by one of your comments. So once again, thank you for joining us. Sit back and enjoy the fucking show, people.
Turns all your bad feelings into good feelings. It's a nightmare.
An Uzi? I'm not from South Central Los fucking Angeles. I didn't come here to shoot 20 black 10-year-olds in a fucking drive-by. I want a normal gun for a normal person.
Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it.
You thought he was white before? You should see that sucking man.
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand.
All right, so Back and Bone. We're back again with some takes on some requests that we've gotten recently. I want to thank Punker Mike for your repeated input on our podcast and on your thank you for giving us some material to work with.
Yes.
And I want to say right out of the gate, I mean, no offense by this, but Slaughter High was painful to my eyes and ears for the entire course.
Slaughter High was indeed painful. However, it did provide me with many notes, many bullet points, a lot of material. I was telling Keith earlier, I actually had seen Slaughter High before. I don't think I watched the whole thing. It was when I was like 18 years old, and they used to have these free movies on demand on Comcast. And that was where I first came across it. And I remember trying to watch it when I was like 18. And I just thought I got through maybe like 15 minutes of it and I turned it off. Now,
The thing is, and what that same exact scenario, literally
Yeah.
with Comcast on demand. Like that's
Yeah.
what my mom had at her house. I watched a lot of really bad horror
Free
movies.
Yeah, and that's, in case you guys don't know, Comcast on demand.
The occasional Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah,
To keep it going.
occasional Nicolas Cage. If you got really lucky, you might get like a Weekend at Bernie's or something like that.
Yeah. But you know what? It was in flux too. They always
Yeah.
had if they had a decent movie on, it would be on for like a week, and then there would be a
Right.
time limit written under it. I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Every
They would
time.
tell
It'd be
you when it was going to
be like,
expire.
this is on for 5 days. Be like,
Yeah.
oh man, I gotta watch that. Let's
Yeah. Yes, this was
Or
obviously
it's back to Slaughterhouse.
the days of online Netflix and stuff like
Right.
that. So that was basically how you streamed stuff.
Yeah, that was the original like on-demand style viewing. As I recall, I don't remember anything before that.
I remember I got rickrolled one time on Comcast. On Comcast on demand. The first time, if you guys don't remember what rickrolling is,
I got rickrolled the other day.
yeah. So if you've never been rickrolled, it's the Rick Astley "Never Gonna Give You Up" music video, and people would use it as a joke. They would send you a link to something you thought was going to be cool. You click on the video, and it's Rick Astley "Never Gonna Give You Up."
And they would have like one slide of the actual video that
Right.
you're trying to watch put in strategically so that would be the thumbnail for the video.
Right, yeah.
So you're like, all right, cool. And then it would just like open up with,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, so I got rickrolled on Comcast on demand when I was going to watch an episode of it. It was that really stupid TV show. It was called Scarred. That's where like it's all skateboarders and
okay, yeah.
extreme, bicyclists. They're all just like wiping out and hitting their really high when I was 18, and it's Rick Ashley. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I didn't even know what it was. I'd never been rickrolled. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing ever.
That was your first rickroll?
That was my first rickroll. I showed my brother. I showed Richard, who lived with me at the time. I was like, do you guys know what the fuck? Can you guys believe this?
Yeah.
I just assumed that it was like a glitch in the system. No, it was like one dude who worked for fucking Comcast and rickrolled me.
That had to be the height of the art of rickrolling, because somebody had to infiltrate the system, because typically when you rickroll, that's privately organized material like YouTube or
Right.
Daily Motion or Vimeo or something, or it'll be like an illegal streaming thing where you
Right,
go on
yeah,
a
yeah.
website and but that has to be posted by an individual.
Yeah, I thought it was really odd, because I was like, couldn't somebody like technically lose their job over this? Because that's
Absolutely.
why at first
Someone
I just thought
probably
it was a
did.
glitch, but then I realized like 6 months later, after I start seeing rickrolling online, I was like, oh, okay, that's what that was.
Yeah.
So
That was a quintessential rickrolling.
that was now.
So I want to take this back to Slaughter High, because
Yeah.
we did watch it, and
Yeah.
we did promise that we would review it. And I think there's a lot of good things to say about it. Like
There is.
I really enjoyed how the entire male cast of the movie looked like a poor man's Steve Perry, combined with every villain ever casted on a John Cusack movie.
Yeah, they were, the thing about Slaughter High, I want to begin by telling you guys, it has a absolutely whopping 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well deserved. They earned every point.
Slaughter High is just a really horrible, trashy horror movie at its finest. It has all of the kind of classic 80s horror movie tropes all kind of rolled into one. And this movie was
Just
made...
want to let you guys know you're going to get some spoilers here.
Yeah,
so if you
yeah.
haven't seen
If you-
Slaughter High, you're going to want to tune out right now.
Yes, there is an insane amount of tropes in this movie. So you have, cocaine use. You have a token black guy who also happens to be the spooky school janitor. Female nudity, cars not starting, characters choosing to split up.
I want to reference the female nudity in this one.
Yeah.
Like the 80s was very hit or miss with their with their horror movie nudity.
Yeah.
Now this one we had a girl melting in a bathtub filled with acid, and
I like
she
that
had
one.
some real elf shoe like teacup-sized boobies, you know, like where they curl back and the nipple kind of points towards the ceiling.
I personally was a little disappointed with the nudity in the movie because there was the one chick that she was the main character, Carol. She was by far the best looking one,
and she's
the only one who didn't get nude.
Sure, and she had those like banging titties. You could see them like through the shirt too.
She was very good looking. And when I first saw Carol, it was during the high school scene where they're bullying our main protagonist, Marty. And I was thinking to myself, like, she's got to be the oldest fucking looking high school student. I mean, now, horror movies always do this. They make jokes about it in Scary Movie where, you know, they'll cast way older people to play teenagers.
Well, movies do that in general. It's
that always happens.
It's a rule of thumb in Hollywood.
Now, I feel like, though, it's not done quite as much anymore, as bad as it, or at least now they'll pick somebody who looks younger, but they still do it.
Well, I've heard from some people that act that I know that it's a rule of thumb in Hollywood that they cast 27 to 30 to be like 17 to 18-year-olds.
Is that because they're like easier to work with or something?
Probably because they're easier to work with. Also because I think it makes them more relatable to an older crowd. You can watch a high school movie and be like, these people are fucking my age. Like, you know, you feel more associable with them.
Yeah, plus teenagers are just like morons. I mean, I was a moron when I was a teenager, and I couldn't imagine being casted in a movie and being required to work.
I just want you to know, any teenagers that are listening to this, you're probably fucking retarded.
You're gonna look at yourself as a moron 10 years from now too. 20 years from now.
You're gonna look back at yourself and you're gonna be like, even if you're fucking writing physics papers right now, you're still gonna look back at yourself and be like, God damn, what the fuck was I doing? I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah. So the woman who plays Carol, out of curiosity, I was like, I gotta find out who this is. I Googled her. She's like 60 or 69 years old now.
Fantastic.
So that means when they filmed Slaughter High in 1986, she was 38 years old.
Wow.
So they casted a fucking 38-year-old.
Pretty.
But she looked really good for a 38-year-old.
I was going to say, pretty fine. Pretty fine. Like, she looked, you know, young and tight.
Yeah.
And, and I, from the beginning scene where they're using her to play the April Fool's joke on the nerd, I was certain that she was going to be the slut character that gets murdered gruesomely. Like, that seems exactly such a given. Like,
that's exactly what I thought. It was a bold move. You know, I got to
flip the script and make her the
I got to say,
final girl, you know.
Slaughter High, that might have been their most clever choice. Was to
that was the biggest twist of the entire movie.
The seemingly slutty party girl the final girl.
Yeah. What a twist.
You know, so they're bullying this kid Marty. Really, he's a very ambitious nerd. Because Marty, he doesn't seem to be in any way, shape, or form aware that he's a nerd.
He seems not at all surprised that this super fine 38-year-old woman is about to take him to the bathroom and fucking rock his world.
Absolutely
he's just
not
down with it.
Marty's totally into it. He says he's been there before. He's done this before. Marty is a self-described sex machine.
That's right. He was a sex machine. That's right.
Not only that, Marty actually, in another scene, he has a joint that two of the other bullies pass along to him, and as he's doing a science experiment, he gets high with his joint using a Bunsen burner,
which is a pretty gangster move.
Yeah, so I could only think, like I said, he's a very ambitious nerd. My question going into it was like, is he even really a nerd? I mean,
what really defines a nerd? The fact that he generally looks like a nerd?
Right, yeah.
Now, I want to get into this. How aggressive was that prank that they pulled on him in the beginning? They got him naked. They were poking him with sticks.
Okay, now I made very quick note of this. When they turned him upside down and gave him a swirly, classic
completely
80s,
nude,
90s, completely nude, you get a straight up close-up shot of his anus and his taint.
I was gonna say no.
It's like up in your grill.
The camera goes like laterally up.
Yeah.
And like turns.
They do one
downward.
of those Tarantino shots.
Like
where
you get an aerial view shot of his upside down anus.
Yes.
Like if he relaxed well enough, you'd have been able to see through his asshole, out his mouth, into the toilet.
It was quite disgusting.
Yeah.
And while in 80s movies, any kind of 80s horror or thriller movie, they're kind of notorious for this. A lot of them have these pranks in them that are just really, really cruel. You know what this reminded me of? Did you ever watch Toxic Avenger?
Of course.
This
It's been a while.
okay.
I'm loose on the details.
This movie
but...
reeked heavily of Toxic Avenger to me, and I don't know. I'll have to Google fact check this. I don't know if Toxic Avenger came first or not. I want to say it did because this movie came out
Toxic
in like
Avenger was like early '80s, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like...
I think it came out in '80s. This movie really, really reeked of Toxic Avenger to me.
Would you say by the
just the
the types of violence, like the way it looked? The
yes.
overall feel of it?
The number. There's a few things.
I felt the same way, but I didn't really like. I didn't really connect the two, but I got that same emotion.
Toxic Avenger was 84.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. The overall vibe of the movie. Number one, multiple scenes of just gruesome violence.
Mm-hmm.
Number two,
a nerd being murdered.
A nerd being murdered at the beginning of the movie, which is literally the plot to Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, and him coming back.
Yeah,
and, just with different background music, these movies basically have the
They're
same
pretty much
story.
interchangeable,
Yeah.
except
a nerd
for
comes back as a mutant.
I would dare to say that Toxic Avenger is an example of this done properly. Because I love Toxic Avenger. I don't know if I would watch Slaughter High again. And it could be one of those things too. Like I grew up watching Toxic Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
I was a lot younger, and Slaughter High I just watched for the first time at 28 years old. So
that's pretty tough. Yeah,
it's I don't know if it's a nostalgia factor or what, but Toxic Avenger I think is pretty damn charming, and there's a lot of similarities between the two. There's just seems like bullying was really big in like 80s movies. There's always a bully.
I feel like there was this thing with that time period where how we have a lot more connection with reality nowadays just because we have so much that might be a bad way of putting it, but we have so much social media that we have more person-to-person interaction.
No, I agree. I see where you're going. Yeah,
I feel like we kind of get it now that bullying isn't really that often a real thing.
It's not at least not the way it's portrayed in those movies. What you get with a lot of these movies is just, and you could see it. I mean, it's an exaggerated version of some of these things.
Physical bullying is very few and far between. Not that realistic. I mean, I could see it, like it's really rare in like the school ground.
Yeah,
school grounds are very regulated.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. I don't really ever remember seeing much physical bullying growing up. I mean, kids like we would all roughhouse, but I don't really remember seeing like not like shit you see in movies where kids get like spit on and swirlied and all this shit.
And I was gonna say like I guess the difference between bullying and roughhousing would be that some of the kids really wouldn't on a social and physical level just wouldn't be able to take the roughhousing.
Yeah,
but
it's a good way of putting it.
But we would leave them alone mostly. Like,
if
you couldn't handle it, then we just probably wouldn't be friends, and that'd be about it.
Yeah, that's the way I remember it. There was another really funny thing that happened, and it was right before they gave Marty the swirly, where when he's in the shower and he's waiting for Carol to come in, somebody had graffitied in marker on the wall, Marty Ranson sucks. Marty very cleverly...
A very elongated, almost straight line-ish S, I would say.
Well, Marty very cleverly draws a line through the S to make it an F and changes it to Marty Ranson fucks. So once again, going back to Marty Ranson was he? I don't think he was ever really a geek to begin with. This kid had some balls on him.
He was making moves.
He was. Another really funny thing that they did was after they so to set this up for you guys. This Carol lures Marty into the bathroom, making him think that she's going to have sex with him. actually, while he's behind the shower curtain, she sneaks an entire group of her friends in there who are basically like a miniature film crew.
Yeah, they
They've
had
got
all,
like,
they had like
they had the
boom
full
mics
setup.
and-
Yeah, they had boom mics. They
Like a
did. They
professional-
were ready to make. I'm pretty sure those were the actual cameras they used to make the movie, and then they just used them as props.
Yeah, they just got they had somebody, like somebody's cousin, recording with their home video camera that scene because
yeah.
they needed to use the actual camera
Yeah.
equipment as props.
So she pulls the curtain back, and there's Marty stark naked while they're all filming him, and they're yelling "April Fools!" And then they all start
And
chanting.
now, how about the look on his face when
The-
that happened? Like,
the
it
look
was
on his
very
face is pretty
genuine.
black.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
he looked mortified.
yeah, like that looked like what that guy probably. It was like not this moment of like fear or what the fuck. It was this absolute soul crushing depression that I saw in his face.
yes.
Where it was just like all I could think from Marty's position right now is I can't believe this is happening. I'm really not gonna fuck that girl that I thought I was gonna fuck.
Yeah,
right now.
it was some brilliant acting.
Like, yeah.
And they all start chanting, "Where's the beef? Where's the beef?" For those of you that don't know, that's a 1980s Burger King commercial reference. They used to have this commercial where this old lady would go, "Where's the beef?"
beef?
Yeah, so he gets swirlied. You see his asshole.
I wanna mention right now. This is the point. Something about this really stuck out to me is when the curtain was pulled and Marty displayed that expression of sheer vulnerability and sadness. That's when some fucking bastard started reaching in with a pole and started prodding him against the wall, his naked body against
They did,
yeah,
yes.
like something about that was just like that was crossing the line. That's where it first got physical.
No, I know
And,
exactly
like,
what you're talking about because
Yeah.
I thought the same thing when I was watching it. Something about
like,
somebody
it kind
just,
of like went between his legs, almost like they were gonna stick it up his asshole or something.
yeah,
It was like
yeah.
this is getting fucking serious.
No, there
right
was
now.
something very, very. As soon as you get somebody naked and you start poking them,
Yeah.
something like animal, like it just looks
It was-
very intrusive.
Yeah, it was very like gladiator-esque, where it was
Yeah.
like so this person has been demeaned beyond like clothing. Yeah, it's been
Well, and
yeah.
I think it's one of those things too. It's a very like kind of graphic when you just see a naked, fully naked body, and then you see the point of a stick, like
Just jabbing into them.
It just looks bad.
And also, who's holding the stick going like, I'm the stick guy. When this all goes down, I'm going to be jabbing Marty against the wall with the
Yeah,
stick.
because you know, whoever was using that stick, they were like planning that all
that
day.
was their,
that was the highlight.
That
of
was
their
their
day.
idea. They
Yeah.
wanted to be the stick guy.
Like, how about I get this fucking stick and I jab him with it?
Once he's naked, that'll really fucking send him over the edge.
You know who was really, really funny was, what was the guy? Skip. Skip was the kind of like the team captain, the main bully.
The Steve Perry looking guy.
Yeah, he had a schnoz on him, and he did look like Steve Perry. It's funny you said Steve Perry. I described him as a poor man's Adrian Brody with the charm of John Wayne Gacy.
Same thing.
Basically,
Same
Steve
thing.
Perry.
But the voice of an angel.
With the voice of an angel. Yeah, Skip was like the main bully. He was a very scummy, kind of ratty looking guy. There were some pretty funny kill scenes in the movie. As Keith already noted, they had the acid bath, which was pretty funny. My personal favorite had to have been when the janitor gets hung by
That
the
was a
coat
good one.
rack. That one was actually good. However, what I wonder though, so
You know what it reminded me of was Indefeatable or Undefeatable,
undefeatable.
the greatest fight scene ever.
Oh
where they get
yeah,
hung.
I forgot
So,
about that.
See you later.
Yeah, see you later. Okay, if you
Yeah.
guys haven't seen Undefeatable, the great Keith actually was the first one to show me this. It was on YouTube. There's probably a zillion greatest fight scenes now on YouTube.
It's really
but-
hard to find this now, but
Yeah.
but the name of the movie is Undefeatable.
It's hilarious.
yeah, it's
and it really is the greatest fight scene ever.
It's I remember there was a bunch of comments under the video of people like trying to defend it and be like, hey, these guys actually show a lot of real martial arts.
no, I remember that too.
Yeah, it was like, no,
Morons.
guys, no.
Idiots.
It was absolutely one of the silliest things I've ever seen. Funny. What was the guy's name? It was something good. It was like It was like Scorpion or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was.
Like, see you later.
Scorpion or something. It
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah, something like that.
Because at one point, one of the guys gets both of his eyes gouged out.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah.
He gets the one gouged
carried
out. And he
off
still
by a
manages to
conveyor.
fight, but yeah. Well, and the thing that I thought was funny in the movie was when the janitor gets killed and he puts him on it's like a coat.
Yeah,
hook.
it's like a coat rack. He just
It's like a
hangs
coat
him
rack.
back- Yeah.
But the funny part about it is this movie was so cheap that they didn't even get like a sharp coat rack.
Stingray, that was it, wasn't
Stingray,
it?
yeah, it was Stingray. Sorry, guys, that was
Yeah.
undefeatable. The guy's name was Stingray.
Yeah, and the girl is like, she was like, keep an eye out for you, Stingray.
Keep an eye out
and the
for
other
ya.
guy's like, yeah, see ya.
As if he's ever going to be able to do anything again after he has 2 eyeballs gouged out. So the thing that annoyed me was that, well, I wouldn't say it annoyed me. It was just kind of funny. But in this movie, when the janitor gets killed, he hangs him up by the back of his head on like a coat rack hanger. Coat rack.
Yes,
It's not even a sharp. So it's
it's-
like, how does that work? How do
it's-
you like jam his... it didn't even make sense.
it's not hooked or pointed or anything. There's
No.
nothing like I would think like, okay, this is probably more of a modern horror movie type of thing where the villain's a lot more like prepared and
Right,
ahead of
yeah.
things. I would expect like you would see a row of normal coat racks, and then there would be like a one that had been sharpened or been broken, or maybe the killer reaches and like snaps off the
Right.
little ball at the end
Yes.
and then picks him up and puts him on it. That's more of like a see no evil level kind of horror movie
Yeah.
or something. But
Yes, and he hangs him up on the coat rack, and then he takes, for just no apparent reason, he just takes his hand and he nails it to the door.
right, I was wondering about that as well.
Which I did enjoy that. I liked the charm of it. I thought that was pretty funny, but it didn't make any sense.
I enjoyed the first kill, and now let me tell you why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it in something of an ironic sense. Not that there was anything wrong with the kill. The first guy shotguns a beer, and the beer is a sealed can, normal can of beer, just like any other that you would shotgun, and he just immediately starts like looking uncomfortable, like, you know, like he's about to blow some diarrhea out of his asshole or something. Like he's not. And everyone's just like, "What's going on, man? Wait, are you all right? Hey, what's happening?" And all of a sudden, he just pulls his shirt up, and his stomach's like, whoa, 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 and then
Yeah.
like his guts just start exploding out of his stomach. Now, I got a couple things about this. First of all, what kind of poison makes makes your fucking stomach explode, but makes your the skin on top of your stomach split open for your guts to kind of crawl out of, and then your guts explode.
The kind of poison that exists in Slaughter High.
Slaughter High.
Because yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I don't know, like something about the title of Slaughter High too. I just kept wanting to put on John Lovett's High School High.
I haven't seen High School High in a really long
Oh,
time.
man,
there was
fucking
one
love
thing
it.
that I really loved. I remember it just stood out to me as a little kid, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And there was like a American gentleman walking around, and he has like a design shaved into the back of his head, and then there's a little toy electric car driving around the design in his haircut. And I just always thought that was like the coolest thing as a kid. I have a feeling that now.
I just always remember the dance scene where the guys with the girls all, "Don't worry about it, baby. It's just an innocent dance." And then they just start basically fucking on the dance floor.
Well, I have a feeling that now, though it's been a while and I would have to re-examine it, I have a feeling that going back and visiting High School High, it would probably be very, very un-PC because there was probably a lot of...
I think that's half the appeal looking back on it. Is
Oh,
it's
yeah.
from that generation where shit was like way off the fucking shelf. Like
Yeah.
there was not the same amount of regulation in comedy that there is
No,
today.
no,
Like,
because you just don't see movies like that anymore. You don't even movies to some extent like Slaughter High. You don't see anymore. I mean, they're just
you know what? I really what I will say about Slaughter High, I do miss the formula. I like
Yeah.
when it comes to slasher movies, when it comes to horror movies, there is a formula to them, and I there's a reason why there's a formula. It's a lot like what we were talking about with Dada art and a few of our things about how like art has a formula. Well, with slasher movies, I'm not talking about, the black guy dies first or the final girl has to be the last person alive. She's the only one who can kill the killer. That's not what I mean by formula. What I mean by formula is you get a good handful of people. It's probably not going to be so scary because you already kind of know a bunch of people are going to get killed. That's not the point of a slasher movie. The slasher movie is not supposed to make you scared. Slasher movie is like it's the horror equivalent to an action movie.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Give me different creative ways that everybody's getting killed and kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's my formula.
That would be one complaint that I have about Slaughter High. You got to be patient. It takes a while to get heated up.
Oh man, a long time.
You got like about 45 minutes in before you get your first kill.
But it maintained the formula. There was a handful of people, and pretty much everyone in this group is getting killed.
Yeah, and it definitely stuck to the formula for the most part. It did stray away in some instances, but they all do that in their own way, just a little bit.
I'm not saying movies like that need to win awards or anything. I'm just saying, like, we need them. We need new ones. We need them made regularly. That's it.
And it's how did you feel about the actual killer's outfit in the movie?
Oh, awful!
It's pretty horrible.
First of all, not in any way scary. It was it was a mask of an old man, but not like a sinister, dangerous.
Now, there was one thing I liked about the jester's hat. So it was an old man's face with a jester's hat. And every time he would come up behind somebody, these bells would make a little jingle. Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of clever. It was kind of funny. But at the same time, from a practicality standpoint, it's just about the least functional and worst killer mask you could have, because you're basically warning everybody every time you come.
Fucking jingling.
Like little jingles.
Yeah. It's like you have a fucking alarm bell attached to you.
Yeah. So that was really stupid.
So guess what? Here to kill you. Ring, 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 ring.
One other thing that I noticed, and I wouldn't be able to break it down, like, I don't know anything about the way things are filmed and the particulars of that, but there just seemed to be a general lack of suspense on everything that happened in the movie.
It really gave me that sort of inline series of events kind of feel, where it wasn't really like there was no story between point to point. It was just like, this person's getting killed and everybody's talking about it.
They did try to sneak in a little bit of that with like,
I mean,
but it was so poorly done that
whether they tried or not, I'm not really talking about what they actually did. I'm talking about just the general feel of it.
Right?
Like,
yeah, it was by the numbers.
Yeah, there was no substance between between scenes.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there was consequences for like anything.
Yeah, like people get. It was just like, well, that
killed
person's just not in the movie.
Yeah, that's exactly. I actually made a note of that, and one of the notes I made was, even after all their friends have been murdered, they still have sex while the tractor's being fixed and just party. They just continue to party and drink beers, and they're like, well, so and so's dead now, but I guess we're gonna hang
over it.
Yeah, and they one of the couples is not a couple actually, but they're hooking up, and the boyfriend, the girl's boyfriend, is off, or husband or whatever he is, he's off fixing the tractor that they're going to try and escape on. It was a tractor, right? Or did I get that wrong?
I want to ask you guys as an audience, and you as well, Matthew. Have you ever driven a tractor before? One thing about tractors, full speed, you're getting like a little bit slower than a light jog. Like, you're going pretty fucking slow on a tractor.
Yeah. I've never driven a tractor myself, but I assumed from an outsider's perspective that they do not go very fast.
No, they do not go fast.
So they would probably be better off just as a group running together away. Yeah. But instead, they completely split up. They decide to have one dude fix the tractor that they're going to escape on, and the other guy, his supposed friend, goes and bangs his wife on the bed upstairs. Midway through banging the wife, they get electrocuted on the bed. Could have been... It was an okay kill. It wasn't like anything super cool.
Yeah, I remember that scene, and now there's certain kills that they don't really inspire any kind of feeling for me when it comes to slasher movies, and that's because it doesn't really show me anything. Electrocution is one of them. Unless you're doing one of those really intense, vicious electrocution where, like, the eyeballs pop out and, like, you see their teeth get turned into fucking popcorn and shit. Like, when it gets very graphic, then I can appreciate that. But when it comes to slasher movies, if you just have someone get killed by them getting stabbed or getting their throat cut or them getting electrocuted, it's just like... It's like have a fucking imagination.
Yeah, it's
right?
like
You're
anything else. It's
movie.
just a general lack of creativity. And that was kind of what that was. Now, the one that I did like better than that was while the other dude is downstairs fixing the tractor, the killer comes up and he starts the little rototiller propeller fucking thing on the bottom of the tractor. He drops the tractor on him and it just like grinds up the dude's legs.
See, that's one I like.
That one was kind of cool. As far as kills go, those were the major ones. There were some other funny tropes, like Carol gets confronted by Marty, and it's after she's like the only one left alive. And she hits him in the face with a baseball bat and drops him, then hits him again, but then she drops the baseball bat right in front of Marty and runs off.
Yeah, that's pretty,
So
that's pretty generic.
Super generic trope.
So pretty standard. Hurt the killer, don't kill the killer, leave the weapon with the killer. That's killer. Like, all right, that's not even just like, I'm scared so I wasn't thinking. That's just complete lack of sense.
That's just
not
laziness.
Even common sense. Yeah. That's just like, I got a gun with 6 rounds in it. I'm going to shoot this guy once. He goes down. I'm going to put the gun in his pocket and I'm taking off. Like, why would you do that?
Pretty much. And when you watch the movie, that's exactly what it looks and feels like. Probably the most clever point of the movie for me was towards the end when Carol, as we said before, is so we think the only one left alive, and then Skip, she's running from Marty, the killer. Then Skip, the other lead bully, comes walking down the hallway, and Carol axes him in the face thinking it's Marty.
Very The Strangers.
Yeah, I liked that because it was a nice little...
Except it wasn't an axe, it was a shotgun, but,
Yeah, and that was just about the most clever thing the movie did. Another big mistake I feel like the movie made was they gave you way too much in the way of like exposing the killer. Like they show you too much of the killer. Like Marty full blown takes off his mask and looks right into the camera, and what made like you take a movie
I would say they did that just too early.
Yeah, too early. Well, too early
because you got to show the killer.
You got to show the killer, but it's got to be done in the right way.
Right,
it's like in
mystery. It has to be mysterious.
In Halloween, when they do it, you get it like a glimpse of Michael Myers' face. And
that was different because that was a lasting iconic figure.
Right. Yeah.
You only got like a flash of his
and
face.
That's how it should be, because you want to be part of what's scary about it is you're imagining what's behind the mask.
What it really is, even no matter what quality of makeup, no matter what quality of graphics, whatever creativity that the creator has, it's never going to be scarier than your imagination, because your imagination just can't quite put a finger on it, what you're seeing.
Yeah,
if they provide the mystery and they provide the fear and the substance to be afraid of, your brain will do the rest.
It reminds me of this story that on this documentary about Wes Craven that I was watching, and there was a story that he tells about how he first got the inspiration for Freddy Krueger to create that character. And he said it was when he was like a little 8 or 9 year old kid, and he was looking out his window, and there was a guy walking down. He was in a 2-story house, and it was right before bedtime, and he's looking out a window, and there's a guy walking down the street. And he said that as the guy was wearing a big trench coat and he had a hat on, kind of like how the hat Freddy wears. He said the guy was walking down the street and he said the guy stopped and he just slowly turned and looked up at him in his window. And he said he could barely see the guy's face and the guy's eyes, but he said the guy had a little smile on his face. And he said his entire life he had nightmares about it, and he always remembered that. And when he was coming up with the Freddy Krueger character, that's kind of what he based it on, was this mysterious kind of shadowy figure who just kept, there was almost like he said because the guy smiled, he kind of knew that he was scaring the kid, and it was like there's this weird kind of sense of humor to it, you know?
Sure. Well, yeah, who wouldn't be scarred for life by that? Potentially turn into the kind of sick bastard that would present the world with a movie like They and Cursed.
Indeed. Yeah.
I feel like those two were his way of getting back at the world.
Cursed was... Well, how did you feel about Cursed?
Fucking sucked.
It sucked. Yeah, it sucked. Now, it was weird. I watched Cursed... When did it came out? In like 05 or 04 or something like that. Yeah. Early 2000s. And I remember watching it when it first came out because that was me at like my peak of like comic book and horror movie fandom. You know, I was like major geek stage at that point. So I was so excited when a new Wes Craven movie came out. And then I went and saw it, and I was pretty disappointed. Mm-hmm. But then I rewatched it later on, and I still thought it was pretty bad, but I remember finding it not as bad as I remember. Like, it was still bad, but I was able to, I think at an older age, I was able to pick out more clever things within it. But it's still pretty fucking horrible. Sure.
I mean, like, if you want to watch it really analytically, like, the thing is that Wes Craven is an intelligent guy. He's a good director.
Yeah.
He knows his craft. He knows what he's doing. But the thing is, he also kind of phones it in at times. Have you ever seen the movie They? It's been a while for me, but...
When did that come out? I don't think I've seen that.
I think They was like... I want to say
2002.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
I do remember this. I just pulled it up right now.
How fucking god awful was that movie? Basically, it's all lead up. It's like a British horror movie. It's all lead up and then no fucking nut. And it's like people are just scared for some reason. They're like, they're watching us. They know. They know.
I do remember this.
What happens in the end is nothing happens. Nothing.
You know, this reminds me of, there was a whole string of movies that, and I don't want to put it in the same category as like The Ring or something like that, but I personally was never like a huge fan of The Ring.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just never was into that, whatever genre of horror you want to call that. I don't know what subcategory that would fall into.
Japanese horror.
Yeah, I was never too...
Japanese ghost story
but
horror.
I have seen clips from the original Ring that I thought were pretty creepy and pretty scary. The Japanese version. Yeah. But the American one that came out, like, I tried watching it and I just couldn't. And I haven't gone. This is when I was like 12 or 13, and like I said, I was majorly into slasher movies and stuff like that. So who knows? If I went back and watched The Ring start to finish now, I might find it a lot scarier. But
I would say probably not at this point. But I got The Ring. Like, I wasn't super freaked out by it. I didn't love it or hate it. I just kind of was... It was referred to me. Mm-hmm. And when I watched it, I wasn't really disappointed. I was like, yeah, it's a creepy thing. Mm-hmm. And I would talk to other people. They'd be like, I just fucking kicked that little girl. It's like, well, that's not the point, dude.
That's not... Like, it's I definitely didn't look at it like that. Yeah. That kind of just is really stupid.
Yeah.
Well, all in all...
the one thing I did want to reference on the Slaughter High thing before we finally get off this for good. I know we've been going for this for like almost 40 minutes. We've been running on Slaughter High. I got this really odd vibe at the end where he's dressed up as the nurse, where Marty is the killer after he's already been, dealt with, and the survivor is in the hospital room, and I see him, and the doctor comes in, and Marty's in there dressed as the nurse, and really reminded me of Dark Knight Rises. There was like Oh, it totally felt.
It was
that
very
way.
reminiscent of Heath Ledger, the hospital scene with Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, even the way he was dressed, but it almost seemed like they melded the character of Two-Face and Joker.
You know what?
Because
I didn't even think of it from that perspective at all.
Because he had a split face where he was half burnt. And for absolutely no reason at all, after he stabs the doctor in the eye with the syringe and doesn't proceed to kill the victim in the bed, which was the whole reason he was there in the first place, he grabs his own face, looks at the camera, and begins to peel off the burned flesh while staring at you.
Right at the camera.
Yeah, right in the camera.
Yeah, it was a very odd choice. I am curious to know what was going through the director's head when they made that decision.
But there was something about it. I think it might have just been the uniform, the nurse's
No,
uniform
it
he was
looks
wearing. It was very similar to Dark Knight Rises.
Just like that. Before the words even came out of your mouth, I was already thinking the same thing. It looked.
But you also know that I'm a fucking like Joker fucking fan.
Yeah. No, but I was thinking the same.
Of course,
exact
I'm
thing.
going to associate it.
It looked just like the Joker in The Dark Knight. It was like it was spot on. Yeah, very odd choice to end the movie on that note, but
it seemed like it wasn't going anywhere at that point. It was like, is he gonna kill the person in the bed or fucking not?
Yeah, it was strange to say the least. I'd be curious to know, Punker Mike, if you have any maybe critiques on our critique, if there was anything we missed, or maybe any things that we might have misjudged, or we might have.
Can you judge our judgment?
Can you judge our judgment, Punker Mike?
Punker Mike.
I'm not saying that Slaughter High is bad, but I'm kind of saying it's bad.
I'm not saying that Slaughter High sucked. The universe is. the way that
Rotten Tomatoes is.
Rotten Tomatoes doesn't approve. No. Once again, thank you for providing us with subject material. I did
have a lot of fun reviewing it.
I genuinely enjoyed critically watching this and looking forward to discussing it on here. As you can see, we went 40 minutes talking about this fucking movie. We did not just do it in passing. This was
it's you know what I've noticed? It's a lot more fun reviewing bad movies than it is good movies.
Fuck yeah, it is.
It really is. You know, one quick thing I wanted to note too is that there was a lot of other ones, but there was this whole kind of subgenre of these 80 horror movies like Slaughter High that took place in high schools. And the other one I remember seeing like, you know, VHS covers for them all the time when we were kids at Blockbuster. But there was another one that I had seen. It was called Return to Horror High that came out in like 1987, and it had George Clooney in it. And he played the cop in the movie. And I remember I rented it one time and I was like, is that fucking George Clooney? And it was a young George Clooney.
Dude,
which, you know what it made me think of, though, is that George Clooney would later do, in 1987 that came out, and then he would do From Dusk Till Dawn. When did From Dusk Till Dawn come out? Like 95 or something? 96 maybe?
It was mid-90s at some point. I don't know the specifics.
I fucking love From Dusk Till Dawn.
Fuck yeah. I still to this day love From Dusk Till Dawn.
It's one of the few...
Hey, you want to know one big reason why Dusk Till Dawn holds up? And I fucking preach this in movies all the goddamn time. Puppets, not CGI.
Yep.
Fucking
absolutely.
Puppets, not CGI, motherfucker. Yep. Your movie's gonna last longer.
Exactly. Yeah, and From Dusk Till Dawn is one of those rare. There's a few horror movies that I'll watch like every year on Halloween. I know you guys watches horror movies in the month of October.
I fucking do.
But
Fuck
yeah,
you
I
guys.
always will. I'll
Spirits
make it
in
a
the
point
air.
to watch some of my favorites in October. And one of the ones I'll always go back to is From Dusk Till Dawn. Usually I'll watch the first Scream. Usually I'll watch like Reanimator. Evil
Reanimator's
Dead.
a good one. You know what?
Yeah.
I didn't watch Reanimator for the first time until like 2 years ago or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, how the fuck have I never watched this before? And I watched all of them.
You know what? No, I'm kind of on the same boat because I didn't watch Reanimator for the first time until I was like, probably like 4 years ago maybe. So it was fairly recent, and I remember always, it was one of those movies that I didn't see growing up, but I always was telling myself, oh, I need to watch Reanimator.
I know,
need to watch
same,
it.
same.
And I just never got to it.
I was like,
and
this
I
is
finally
a-
watched it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this is like one of the best horror movies ever. It's fucking
It's
incredible.
fucking perfect. It gives you, and all of the Reanimators were like that.
And
Up to-
I actually haven't gone and watched Reanimator 2 or the
Oh,
Bride
you
of
should, man.
Reanimator.
All of them are good.
Yeah.
They're all the same. Like, as soon as I watched Reanimator, I was like, well, now I gotta watch the rest of them. And it was just like, yeah.
And there, for those of you that haven't seen Reanimator, I mean, that's we can break that down in an entire separate episode.
Yeah, we
because
could
it's-
spend a whole
it's
fucking
rich
day.
with content.
Rich with content and also very enjoyable for a fucking empty-headed watch. Like, if you could just shut down, fucking get high as fuck, and just watch Reanimator, and you're gonna have a good time. It's fucking syringes filled with bright green goo and fucking monsters coming to life, and like, dude, it's a lot of fun. Like,
It is.
and that actor, I don't know his name, but I've seen him in 1,000 different things.
The guy who plays Reanimator?
the guy,
The main guy?
the
What's
guy
his
who plays
name?
the doctor.
Oh yeah, what the fuck is his name?
Yeah, I've seen him in so many different things. I saw him play Edgar Allan Poe in a short film one time.
Wait,
that
really?
was he was on Masters of Horror, and it was The Raven, I think. Was
Herbert West was his name in the movie, but the guy who plays Herbert West is, what is it, Bruce Abbott, I think?
I don't know.
No,
But
it's Jeffrey Combs. Yeah, that
Jeffrey
guy has,
Combs,
man,
yeah,
this guy's,
he was in.
he's from Oxnard. Huh.
Seriously?
Yeah, Oxnard, California.
Dude, I've seen that guy in so many different things, and he was.
Yeah, he's got quite the filmography here. This guy's been in fucking everything.
Yeah, he was on. What is that movie with Michael J. Fox, Screamers or something like that?
Oh, The
Or-
Frighteners.
The Frighteners. There we go.
It's so funny that you mentioned the
Screamers
Frighteners.
was Peter Weller. Excuse me.
Yeah, oh, I didn't even realize that was him in the Frighteners. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is it's funny you mentioned the Frighteners because I was just thinking about the
I love
Frighteners
that
the other
movie.
day, and I was gonna make a
Jake
note.
Busey for life,
Yeah,
baby.
I almost reviewed the Frighteners. I was planning on reviewing the Frighteners
fucking
on my
should.
review page. Because the Frighteners, for those of you guys who haven't seen it, is fucking awesome. That's like one of the most underrated horror movies to come out of the night. And it's
it's a very Michael J. Fox horror movie. It's
Yes.
very light, it's funny, it's fun, but it's also a horror movie. Like, people get fucking murked on this shit.
yeah,
Like,
no, it's the perfect mix of. It's a movie that it's a horror movie that you can go and like take your kid to see, but
it's like
you're
a-
gonna enjoy it too.
It's like a Beetlejuice level horror
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
Like, people get killed and shit, but it's like there isn't really extreme violence or anything. It's a little lighthearted. It's a great fucking movie.
And it was Michael J. Fox, close to the peak of his powers. I remember like right after this, I think was when he got diagnosed with Parkinson's, and he had to take a back seat a little bit.
he had to
But
slow things down.
Peter Jackson directed it.
Was it a Peter Jackson movie? I didn't
Peter
even know
Jackson,
that.
yeah.
I could see it though. I could see it. All the landscaping and everything.
Yeah,
of it,
I
like,
remember seeing this
wide
came out.
shots.
This movie came out in '96. I remember seeing this in that old movie theater that they had in the mall, that little tiny one upstairs. Yeah,
The one
this
that
was
turned
good.
into the laser.
Yeah.
Laser tag.
rink. Yeah, that didn't
Yeah.
last long, huh?
No. I remember one time I went to a rave there.
Really?
Yeah.
The laser rink?
Yeah, dude, they had raves there. It was funny. Like they
So
actually
what
had
people
a lot
do?
of-
Just like take ecstasy
yeah,
before
you
they go
take
in?
fucking
and-
Molly and you go fucking party at but you know
Wow.
what? Like it made sense because they had different DJs in the different like arenas.
Yeah.
So you go outside, you buy some Molly off someone, you
Yeah.
go back inside, and you just trip your fucking balls off going
course.
from rink to rink.
You know,
whatever.
I remember I saw a concert there one time actually when
Yeah.
I was like 16, and it was like so lame. It was like a heavy metal show. It was so stupid though. But yeah, powerful laser
Dude.
rink no longer with us.
Dude, no shit. Everyone was super fucked up at that, like, and you'd think like a place like Santa Maria, there'd be a handful of fucking hipster kids out there just hanging out, like, oh, it's a rave, you know, you're not gonna be on drugs to go to a rave. I
Right.
could see that happening, but like the hallways between the arenas, there was like There's people just like sprawled out on the ground with black lights and like people just drawing on them with black lights.
Was there like anybody there to regulate this?
No, that was
So,
what was so cool about it. It was like fucking Coachella.
Who
just
organized?
smaller.
How did this work? Who organized the rave? I mean,
I don't know. I don't remember. There was something on a flyer somewhere.
Did you have to like pay to get in, or?
Yes, it was
Okay.
like, but it was cheap. It was like $10 to get
Right.
in.
So somebody organized it and put it together
Yeah.
and was like, it wasn't just like the owner's kid who was like, hey guys, come to my fucking rave. Or that's what I was picturing in my head, like some 16-year-old.
It was an absolutely professionally put together rave. Like in retrospect, now that you kind of like are looking at me like I'm a crazy person, I'm realizing how good of a rave this actually was for a Santa Maria at the laser tag place.
If there's anybody out there listening to this who went to this rave or has any more information on the rave, please feel free to drop us some lines and let us know.
Leave us a comment if you know anything about this rave.
Yeah.
It was probably between the year of 2009 and 2010.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it was when I was living in Santa Maria. I remember I was working at the Jet Center because I just got home from work and I was like, oh, I'm so tired, my life sucks, and I don't want to go to the rave. And my brother's like, listen, take this, and you're gonna want to go to the rave. And I was like, ugh. Okay,
You worked-
and I took it, and I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna go to that rave."
You were tired all the time when you worked at the Jet
Dude,
Center.
I fucking hated it. My life
That was a
miserable.
horror. I remember I applied for a job once at the Jet Center.
Did
I
you?
remember- yeah, I remember I went
Dude,
in.
it's like one of the few places somebody can go, like, actually work a lot and make a lot of money.
Yeah,
You know, like-
I remember you started working there, and then I remember you were telling me to go apply, and then I finally went and
I
applied.
probably wanted you to apply just because I wanted a fucking friend to work with.
Probably.
Like-
I mean, hey, that would make sense. But this was back when, I must have been like 20 years old at the time. Yeah, I was.
That's right. It was about 21.
Yeah, I never got a call back. I may not have been qualified to work at the Jet Center.
Dude, they fucking hired whoever there. It was super random. They were like,
Oh, so you know what? I remember. Okay, now this brings. Okay, so I remember I was working at Lassen's and I worked with Craig at Lassen's.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then
you
I
were
remember
working at
Craig got
Lassen's.
hired at the Jet Center.
Yeah.
And then Craig was the reason.
Craig got me fired.
Fucking Craig.
And then like a month after Craig got me fired, first of all, I'm not even going to tell you guys the story until I throw a little background on you. Airplanes are expensive. I don't know if you know that. Mm-hmm. Every piece of an airplane is super expensive, and the work being done on airplanes is even more expensive. Craig, after he got me fired with an immaculate record,
I have an immaculate record.
I have an immaculate record. Fucking like Alec Baldwin. Craig gets me fired, and then like 2 weeks afterwards is towing a fucking plane and crashes it into a wall.
What? Craig, if you're listening to this,
And I hope you are, man.
you crashed a fucking plane into a wall? Holy shit. How does that happen?
It's actually very easy. You have to be really careful when you're towing jets. You are always supposed to have what's called a wing walker. A wing walker is somebody who literally walks alongside of the wing and has a view of the tail and has a view of the wing, and they stand to the side that's closest to the wall.
Okay.
All right, so you can see the wall on one side as the tower, and the wing walker can see the wall on the other side. Mm-hmm. So they give you a thumbs up, and then they give you a palm when it's time to stop. Like, okay, you're getting close, stop.
Right.
You know, or they give you a fist, stop. And well, I don't work there anymore, so I towed shit without a wing walker all the fucking time. I was a gangster on that fucking
Tone planes.
yeah, dude.
It's like working
there's-
out without a spotter.
Dude, I was there was one time, actually literally the day before I got fired, I had a fucking my whole like runway area was covered in fucking planes, and a bunch of shit happened. I don't remember why. We had a new girl working. Mm-hmm. She left. and I was alone. Or she was like on a fueling job or something, and I was alone there. This is a few years ago, so the details are a little hazy. But I remember we had a G5, we had a couple of Cessnas, like we had a Citation jet.
G5.
Yeah, we had a G5.
Wait a minute, like G5 from Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
When Tom Cruise is
Yeah.
like G5 play.
It might have been a G4, it might have been a G3, but they're the same size. So like, basically that was. So we had one of those. But I think it might have been a G5. It was a big one. So the girl, and I'm trying to get out of there on time. You know, like we got shit that we got to do, and we have a plane coming in at like 4 a.m. the next day, and I don't like I'm getting this shit fucking set up. All right.
Yeah.
So the girl's on a fueling. It's like 8:30 at night or something like that. And so I just went out and I just fucking handled business. I had to move all these planes around. So I had to pull like the Cessnas out, and then I had to pull the G5 out and put it in the corner. And I basically just like packed this place down. Like I just consolidated like 6 different airplanes without a fucking wing walk or anything. I was fucking gangster. And then I came in the next day and my boss was like, "Keith, can I see you in my office, please?" I'm all... He fucking saw on the cameras that I wasn't walking with a wing walker.
So was that why you got let go? Was he pretty pissed? Oh, okay.
No, the reason why I got let go was that like a week before, something like that, I told Craig, I was like, "Hey man, you're done. I just got to do the paperwork. You can bounce if you want. I'll just clock you out when time comes." He came in like however many days later and just felt so compelled that he had to confess that I clocked him out 20 minutes after he was supposed to be off work. And
he broke. That's like the number. Oh my god.
Dude. And then my
I don't
boss,
want to use the man code reference, but come on,
but
man.
that was man code as fuck. But
Yeah.
my boss is like, well, it's protocol. It's on the books. You know, you can't do that. That's stealing. I was like, okay. So am
For
I
20
fired?
minutes?
And then, yeah, it was like a matter of like $3 or something like that. But
Holy
I was
shit.
fired for technically for stealing because of that. So that's awesome.
Wow.
But yeah, super funny. But that's my Jet Center story with Craig.
Well, Craig, you ended up crashing a jet into a wall not too long after that.
So I heard. If you are hearing this right now, that was a story
might
I
be
heard. I
wrong,
don't know if
yeah.
that's true.
I
But
wish
it-
we could have callers. So
Yeah.
maybe Craig could call in
It-
and go, "Hey man, I didn't crash any fucking jets.
You guys are slandering my good name,
straight, man."
No, from a reputable source. That's why I heard Craig crashed the plane. But I was super stoked to be out of there. When I got fired, I was so fucking jacked. I was like, "Fuck yeah, man!"
Yeah,
This
because what
job
kind of
sucks
hours? What
my
kind of hours
asshole.
did you work there? You had some crazy hours, right?
5 a.m. to 1, but you usually have to come in early because like a plane would be coming in early and we'd have to be there to marshal it in.
So what would be the earliest you needed to get there?
Anytime. I worked a 24-hour shift one time.
Fuck. Yeah, that's miserable.
Because I closed and then I was supposed to be opening the next day. Closing is at 9. But you, like, literally, it's no matter what time a customer comes in, someone has to be there for that. You know, like, we were like full service. We were a full service concierge for private aircraft.
So private aircraft. So did you ever see any celebrities while you were there?
Angelina Jolie.
What?
She flew a Diamond Air.
That's a big celebrity.
Yeah, Angelina Jolie had a Diamond Air. She flew it in there. I didn't see her personally, but
Okay.
I saw her Diamond Air.
Yeah.
Little no prop, tiny little fucking airplane, but it's still a jet engine.
I wonder what was she? So was it like a connecting flight or something like? What
No.
was she doing?
This was the private side of the airport. No connecting flights. Like you fly where you're going.
Oh, okay.
Like
But I mean, would she stop to like? Because why the fuck would she
No,
be in
her-
Santa
her-
Maria? Would she just stop just to like get refueled or like
Well,
for maintenance or
you know,
shit like that?
You know
or-
who had a jet hangared in their they had their jet in my hangar. Was Chuck Roven,
Who's that?
the producer for the Dark Knight movies.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Charles Roven.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Twice a week he'd fly to Van Nuys from.
Wow.
Twice a week at 4 a.m. I'd always have to get up early on Chuck Roven days and
Wow.
go fucking get his jet out of the hangar, fuel it up. So his pilot.
Did you guys get tips?
No. Oh, we were supposed to get tips, but nobody fucking tips us. These are rich people that we're talking about.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, dude.
You got a
It's like-
fucking private jet and you can't even shoot the.
We had one dude who.
What if he was like, "Hey, jet boy. Hey, jet boy.
Hey, jet boy.
Don't spend
Take
it all
my
in one
bags."
place,
He's
jet
like-
boy."
I'd be if he gave me fucking anything, I'd have been stoked. I'd
Yeah.
probably say it. I'd have been like, "This is $1 from Batman."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no. Chuck Roven, very polite. I'm not going to say anything bad about the guy. He was actually, as far as a lot of the Jet Center customers would go, Chuck Roven was pretty cool. I got to drive his car frequently. Not a special car. It was a fucking Chevy Silverado that. Because he has a horse ranch in Paso Robles. So if any of you guys want to scour the horse ranches and find Chuck Roven, that's where he is. Get out there, go find him. No, cool guy. He was always very polite to me. He had a little Jack Russell Terrier that would fly with him. That was a cool dog. What else? Dexter Holland from The Offspring.
Oh
He had
wow.
a Citation jet that had a big anarchy symbol on the.
Because wasn't he
on the
from
tail
like
wing.
Santa Barbara or something like that?
I think so. Yeah,
I think he was fairly local.
he's a Californian.
You know, he's got some really interesting. Have you ever read up on his background?
No,
He's
but
like a chemist or something like
Is he?
that. He's apparently Dexter Holland from the frontman of The Offspring. The lead singer is like a super. I'll Google that right now. But apparently he's like a really fucking smart guy. And
he
like,
seems like it. He's got that like kind of dorky kind of like way of.
Yeah,
way of
he
looking.
graduated in 1984 as class valedictorian. He was during high school. Holland was the best student in mathematics in his year.
What a gentleman!
Wow. Oh, and so he ended up going to USC, where he earned a BS degree in biology and a master's
degree in psychology
and a master's degree in molecular biology, and commenced a PhD in molecular biology.
What the fuck?
Isn't that fucking crazy?
You know, The Offspring was like my first band. That was like the first band I listened to.
Well-
they were like there was a period of time where The Offspring was the only band that I liked.
Well, little did you know, he's a genius.
He's a fucking genius.
Holland was a doctoral student in the Laboratory of Viral Oncology and Proteomics Research.
No shit.
Keck School of Medicine.
I don't
where
even
he
know
was-
what proteomics means.
Yeah, where he was supervised by Professor Soraya Rashid in 2013.
Soraya Rashid.
In
And
2013,
the work he's done.
Holland and co-authors published a paper in PLOS1 regarding microRNA and HIV genomes. I could go all on. They
Can
have a
we
whole
call
portion
him
of
Dr.
it.
Holland?
I think we could.
I love it.
So,
It makes me feel a lot better about being a fucking fan of The Offspring. Like, hey,
Yeah.
everybody out there, listen to The Offspring. Get a little smarter, all right?
hey, you know that those first few albums they came out with were really good.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I got their
Smash, Self-Titled, Ignition. Those are fucking badass albums.
They sold out on Americana. That was their sellout record.
I think Americana was still good, but that was
still
where
liked it,
That was
but-
where it started to be like, all right, this is getting a little
It was a little by the numbers.
a little by the numbers. This is feeling,
I remember I got Conspiracy of One for Christmas when I was like, you guys want to hear what I got for Christmas when I was
once
10?
they came out with original Prankster, I was like,
That was it. When I was 10 years old, I got 2 CDs. It was Conspiracy of One, which had original Prankster on it, and I also got Limp Bizkit, Chocolate Starfish, and Hot Dog Flavored Water. I got 3 Dragon Ball Z VHS tapes. I think I got a lava lamp. Those are the big highlights. Oh, and I got a CD player, a little portable CD player. It was a total piece of shit, and I think it broke after like 2 weeks. I probably fell when I was on my scooter.
dude, when I was a kid and I was listening to like the Offspring records and shit, I remember I would listen to 107.3 The Rock or whatever,
Yeah.
some generic. It was
107.3
107.3 The
The
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah. So I listened to 107.3 The Rock, and I had a fucking tape in the cassette player, this shitty like thing the size of my fucking arm, and I'd just be fucking hanging out on this thing, waiting for songs I liked.
And you record them. I did the same thing,
dude. Old school shit, bringing memories back. Remember
did that with VHSs too. You do that with
VHSs too.
movies,
You got
and then
like
cut out
yeah. You'd press the stop button when the commercials come on, then press record again when the movie comes. So there would be like pieces missing every time.
Yep. Yeah. So Dexter
You have,
Holland. Was there any other notable, big notable celebrities you encountered at the Jet Center?
I don't know his name, but the guy who invented PayPal.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he flew his Challenger jet in.
Who's the inventor of PayPal? I want to Google that.
Fuck if I know, man. I saw him for 2 minutes, and he fucking got off and left. People don't come to Santa Maria to hang out at the fucking Jet Center.
What if
They
the guy
just
who
fly in
invented
there.
PayPal was like, "Hey man, you got a PayPal?" And you were like, "Yeah." He was like, "Check your PayPal. I left you a tip."
That'd be
This would
funny
be a
as
really
fuck.
smart
Well, he
business
invented PayPal, but he did not have any further affiliation with it.
So it was founded by Max Levchin, Peter Thiel, Luke Nosek, and Ken Howery.
Shit if I know which one of those guys it was.
One of those guys.
Like, basically, this is what would happen is, like, my boss would be like, guys, all right, listen up. Here's the guy who invented PayPal is coming in.
He'd
And I'd
just
be
name drop.
Yeah, he would just name drop. He was very excited to let you know how cool he was that someone was coming into the place that he worked at. And he would I hit this weird fucking habit of assuming that we knew everything that the people wanted, even though they didn't ask for it. You know, like, we would get fucking chewed the fuck out. We got our jobs threatened all the time. Which, in retrospect, why the fuck did I give a shit? That job
Right.
fucking sucked. I got like $2 an hour more than minimum wage, and I worked my fucking ass off.
When you're like
Like-
20 though, $2 more than minimum wage feels like a lot of money.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not,
hey, that's
though.
really good.
That's like an extra $50 a month I'm making.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
it's not good. If you're 20 and someone's giving you $2 an hour over minimum wage, they're probably fucking you, all right? So
Yeah.
be careful.
I used to train a guy who was a helicopter pilot, and he had
The helicopter pilots were dope.
He-
I feel the helicopter pilots like 8 times a day.
Well,
Those guys were fucking
he was one of the
cool.
coolest fucking dudes. Probably the coolest guy I've ever trained.
See what I'm saying?
Awesome guy. Like, so fucking cool. He was from New York originally. And he was, he told me, I know the whole story on this guy. He would,
Was he an RLC pilot?
what is that?
Rotocraft Leasing Company.
I'm not sure.
The guys
so, no,
who, they
I
flew the guys out to the oil rigs in Santa Barbara.
I don't believe so. No, he I think he retired out of New York, but he was he was a pilot. And he was actually here. I'll start from the top. His story was that he was actually a helicopter pilot in Vietnam,
Okay.
and he came back from Vietnam and he couldn't get a job because apparently after Vietnam there was like a surplus of helicopter pilots from Vietnam,
Right,
Who
of
couldn't
course.
find work because you don't need that many helicopter pilots in the United States, so nobody could find work. He ended up getting hooked up with a job at Sony, so he was a helicopter pilot for Sony, the movie company, and
Awesome.
company of all kinds of other shit too. So he would tell me all these stories about these celebrities that he would pilot. So what his job was is he would I think he would pilot out of Long Island, and he would fly people from Long Island to like Manhattan or something like that. I might be getting my facts all fucked up, but just bear with me, guys. So he would fly these people, and Sony, I think I don't know if it was Manhattan, but they had their big skyscraper in New York, and it had a helipad on top of it. So that's where he would fly him to, like their headquarters. And he would tell me, I mean, major celebrities. And he would name off all kinds of fucking different ones, like Robert De Niro, Jack Nicholson, fucking Cher, like all kinds of people. And he told me this story about, I was really curious about Jack Nicholson. I was like, so what was he like? He was like, oh, he's an asshole. And I was like, really? I was like, Jack Nicholson? He was like, yeah, he's an asshole. And I was like, why?
I think that makes me like him more. Like,
he goes,
I
well,
feel like Jack Nicholson should be an asshole.
and he talked like this. This is what his name was Robert. This is what he talked like, and he was like, "Well, what happened here, Matt, is you can't smoke cigars in helicopters. Safety hazard. Can't do it." I told him, you better put that out. I can't take off if you don't put that out. And he just gave me a dirty look, and he wouldn't talk to me after that. And
Asshole.
That was the whole thing. Jack Nicholson got mad that he told him to put his cigar out because it was a safety concern.
Now, I do want to point this out. There's a very specific thing about celebrities. Celebrities are like they're these rare, like, mystical creatures. They're like unicorns. You only really see them so often in your life. Mm-hmm. And you only really see them in certain situations.
Right.
You don't really know what's going on with a person at a given time. And also, these are people who have been pampered a lot. They're celebrities. Yes. They're used to getting what they want when they want. Now, let's just put that as a side note. My coach used to be a bodyguard for Dr. Dre. Mm-hmm. Huge celebrity.
Yeah.
Right? Everywhere he goes, and also Dr. Dre is a weird looking guy. People know who Dr. Dre is when they see him.
Yeah,
like, he's got a very
sticks out. Like, you're not going to mistake Dr. Dre for somebody else.
So everywhere he goes, people are like, "Fucking, I'm getting a picture with this guy."
Right?
I'm going to say what's up to him. Sometimes Dr. Dre needs to take a shit.
Right.
Okay, and he doesn't want to deal with every single person that wants to take a fucking picture with him. I fucking get it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That might not be the first helicopter that who was it? It was Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson. That might not be the first helicopter Jack Nicholson was on that day. It might be the first time he fucking sat down and was like, "I want to smoke my fucking cigar. I haven't gotten a fucking chance to yet. And fuck this guy. The helicopter can wait till I'm done smoking my fucking cigar."
Yeah. Yeah. And, I can imagine. I mean, I was just thinking about this the other day. Like,
celebrities are busy being celebrities. There's
the
more
thing.
to it than people, it seems like.
I was thinking about this because we just went to that concert in Hollywood. And when we were at the concert, I saw Jeff Ross there. The comedian who does all the roasts and stuff. I saw him there, and he was just walking around with his fucking girlfriend and a friend of theirs, and he was like, 5 feet from me.
Jeff Ross. There's a guy who I wouldn't know his name if I saw him, but I would recognize him. But I remember.
And I told my wife, I was like, "Oh, that's Jeff Ross right there." She's like, "Oh, no way." She's like, "You should ask for his picture." And I never in my life have ever asked. I don't think I've ever done that. If it was the right scenario, maybe I would. Like, if it was like, we're hanging out in a social setting, and I might ask for a picture. But this just didn't. When we're walking out of a concert and everybody's rushing to get out, like, I just didn't feel like I'm not going to go up to this guy and ask him for his picture.
You want to hear an example of me legit feeling bad about doing that? I am fucking drunk. Not right now, but at the time. And right now, actually. If you guys are listening, I've been getting progressively more drunk as this podcast is going on. So we're at the UFC a while back. Me and my sisters were there, and we're up getting beers, and I'd been drinking my ass off all day. I'm fucking wasted. And I see Forrest Griffin out of the corner of my eye. And he's moving, like, with purpose.
He sent me this picture, too, so I know this did, in fact, happen.
Forrest is... And I have to give him credit for being super fucking nice about it. Like, I literally reached out and grabbed him. I was like, "Yo, Forrest!" I my arm out. Yo, Forrest. And he stops, and he's all...
"Hey, yo, Forrest."
He's all, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." Like, he thought, like, a cop was stopping him or something. I was like, "Hey, Forrest!" And he's all, "Oh, what?" I'm like, "Yo, dude... I've been watching you forever. Can I get a picture?" And I just felt like I fucking stopped this guy when he was like on his way to go take a shit or something. I don't know, but like I literally made physical contact with him. I fucking grabbed his arm.
We actually Ariana did this at we went to go see Brian Callen, a comedy show in San Jose like 6 months ago. And she did this because normally I don't think a lot of comedians do this anymore, but I remember me and Wyatt saw Joe Rogan like 5 years ago in Sacramento, and you wait in line after and you get to have a picture with him. And then I remember Wyatt was like, "Dude, just make sure right before the show ends, dude, we got to get up and go get in line, be the first ones in line so we don't got to wait." So Wyatt, we run, we go get in line, and we get a picture with Joe Rogan. it was pretty cool. But none of the comedy shows I've been to since then do that. So we were leaving the comedy show, and Brian Callen wasn't doing the whole, picture signing. And I saw Brian Callen once before, and I got a picture with him. And it was really funny because he's just like how he is on the podcast. Like when I saw him,
that's what Brian Callen really seems to like. It seems like his gift is that he's just a conversationally funny guy.
He is, yeah.
His stand-up is funny,
Yeah.
but he just seems like a guy who like he would probably be his funniest. Literally just.
Oh
hanging
no,
out
he
with
was
you.
hilarious.
Like,
So when we first saw him, it was like in San Francisco, like 6 or 7 years ago, and we're at this comedy show, and me and Capato and Wyatt got a picture with him. And we were like, hey, can we get a picture? And he's like, yeah, sure, of course. Come on, guys. And he puts his arm around me, and he was like, oh, man, you got some shoulders on you, huh? Just like on the podcast.
he's very respectful of a man's body.
Like, you got
he
some
likes
shoulders. He's like, you got some shoulders on you, huh? Yeah, you work out. You're pretty tight. We're just like cracking up. And then the entire night after that, when we're getting drunk, like Capato just keeps making jokes about how Brian Callen basically groped me and fondled me.
You know what? There are worse people to get groped and fondled by.
No, I was very
would really
flattered.
appreciate being groped
It was
and fondled by
very
Brian
flattering.
Callen.
It was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ariana did that to Brian Callen because he did this comedy show, and it was when they do the double header, where they'll do a show at like 6 and then a show at 8 or something like that. And he's leaving the stage, and he goes around the back, and then there's this little stairwell that leads up to a room above where the comedy takes place. And his wife was up there waiting for him because we could see his wife watching him from the audience. Mm-hmm. So she's standing up there waiting for him, and you could tell he's trying to sneak around, and Ariana was like, oh, that's him right there. And I was like, no, just leave him alone. And before I could even say leave him alone, she goes, Brian. And he was like, oh, no, really? Sorry, I got to go. And then Ariana was like, can I get a picture with you real quick? And he just like is too nice a guy. He couldn't say no. And then
that's how Forrest was. Like, I honestly, I think I felt worse because he was so fucking nice about it. Like, because I realized immediately after doing it, I was like, I just fucking physically grabbed this person.
So get this. So Ariana pulls. She pulls Brian Callen over. She's like, "Can we get a photo real quick?" And Capato takes the photo of me and Ariana and Brian Callen. And she's like, "This is my husband. He's took a picture with you before. He said you complimented him on his shoulders." And then Brian Callen looks at me and he goes, hey, "He's got some shoulders on him."
He's got some shoulders on him.
And it was like. I just thought it was the funniest shit ever. He
says the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he does have some shoulders on him. I can't remember everyone, but
it was hilarious.
I want to take a left turn here. Mm-hmm. I really like how this has been going so far. This has been a very funny podcast, but there's some stuff I've been listening to, podcasts and radio news and everything, but Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., the Golden State Killer, the East Area Rapist, and as Wyatt called him, the East Bay Asshole Ravager. Yes. What do you think about the allegations of him having a micropenis as a medical technical term?
This is the first I've heard of this. I was not aware that he had a micro. Where does this come from?
Apparently that's around in the news. Like I first heard it on last podcast on the left. They remarked on it several times.
I haven't listened to the last podcast on the left on him yet.
Oh man, it's really interesting. But you know what? They talk about a lot of the stuff that we talked about in our podcast with Wyatt. And I want to say what I really wanted to remark on about this. I don't want to get into the news and details about that. You guys can find that out on your own. What you guys are here listening to us for is you want our speculation on this. And what I want to talk to Matthew about today is, do you think him having a micropenis is worse or better for his victims?
It's got to be better, right? Because he's a rapist.
But is it more violating that someone is jamming their tiny little barely existent penis into you, like just this or is it like almost like a phantom dick that you're getting?
It's got to be better.
Yeah,
because
in a physical sense,
the only thing more terrifying than that is being jammed. You don't want the guy you're getting raped by to have a crank like Lexington Steel. Like you're gonna be in pain. That would suck.
I'm not saying like as opposed to him having like a dangerously large cock that he's like fucking like it has to be classified by the government as a weapon of mass destruction. Like, I'm talking about, like, as opposed to a normal cock. Is it more frightening when some fucking pervert monster has you tied up and is about to rape you, and he pulls his pants down, and you're suddenly taken aback by this fucking,
I think the
like,
visual, when I
penis.
imagine it in my head, there is something creepier about the visual of just like this little button penis.
Yeah, like almost
Like, it
not
looks-
their penis.
Yeah, the idea of it looks very creepy.
Yeah. Like, I've been hearing about this a lot, about his micro penis, and it's like, I can see how that there's something maddening about having a micro penis. And to the micro penis community, if anyone out there with a micro penis is listening to you, I do not think that makes you a monster.
No, you just got to get really good at doing other things. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And
Get a micro penis.
it's not a topic that I know a lot about. I don't want to comment on it as a society. I know having a micro penis doesn't make you bad in any sort of way. However, this particular man with a micro penis, it is a big mark against his character as well.
Yeah, well, I think, look, when somebody is a convicted, multiple-time murderer and rapist, just about anything is going to be a knock on. They could be like, he drank his coffee black. What a piece of shit.
What a piece of
he
shit.
He would drink his fucking coffee black. He doesn't
fucking
want
asshole,
cream in
rapist,
there.
murderer.
It's black like his heart.
Yeah, no, I was very, like, I heard about the story, heard about all this going down, heard about all the connections they made, and then when the whole the micro penis thing came out, that really threw me for a loop, because I thought, what an interesting thing, like, for a man who's raped 50 plus women,
Right.
Violently raped, you know, to have a micro penis, it's like, I had to wonder, is that better or worse? And I know this is this might be a can of worms that we don't want to dive into, but ladies and gentlemen, give us your thoughts. Like, give us comments.
I would be curious to hear the opinions of others on this.
If you were to be raped by a person with a micro penis, would that be better or worse than them having a normal penis?
For the record, I'm going to say I'm going to say better.
But not just physically. Consider this psychologically. Consider the, like, obviously your physical body is going to be less damaged. You're going to feel less. You're going to experience less from a micro penis because there's less penis to assault you with. But think of just the psychological effect of this fucking monster. And one of this monster's characteristics, their physical deformity, is the penis that they're assaulting you with. This tiny, unnaturally small penis. And this haunting figure just sweating over you and attacking you with this tiny
when you
little
describe it
knuckle
like
of a
that,
penis.
it sounds very disgusting.
See what I'm talking? That's what I'm saying. Is like, you got to look at this from other angles. Is it worse or is it better?
I tried to Google it, but I couldn't. Judge Joseph Oh, okay. I did find something.
Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., Golden State Killer.
Suspect, penis. His penis. Judge rules photos of his penis will be taken.
Yeah, that was what I heard on the podcast. They talked about how they had to fucking strip him down and take pictures of his dick.
The Golden State Killer's penis is supposed to be exceptionally small based on victim accounts. For decades, it was one of the few distinct physical details authority knew about the killer and rapist.
Yeah, apparently.
My God.
Apparently, one thing they would do, he would hog tie his victims with their hands and feet tied together, and their hands behind their back. And he would haunch over them and put his penis in their hands and say, play with it, which is fucking horrifying, absolutely fucking horrifying.
Yeah, that's
but it's like, you know, they're grabbing it and going like, which one's the balls and which one's the penis?
God, disgusting.
Yeah, fucking horrible, man. But kind of funny that you find the like one of the premier rapist and murderer characters in history. And one of the biggest pieces of news about him is, well, he's barely got a cock.
Yeah, it's pretty random. I was not expecting that.
I'm glad I got to spring that on you. I really wanted your
Yeah.
natural reaction.
No, I
I didn't
had
know
no
if
clue.
I didn't know if you'd heard about that.
No,
or
I
not,
haven't
but,
been
like,
following him too closely, so I'm not super well informed on it. So
Well, that actually is one of the primary things that I've heard about it. I haven't been following it closely at all. That's the main thing that I heard, and that's why I really wanted to talk about it. I thought, what an interesting piece of information to discuss.
Indeed it is. What else do we got here on the agenda?
Yeah, folks at home, comments, questions, ideas, thoughts about that.
I know we've got some fights coming up here this weekend that
Yeah.
we were talking about earlier.
Yes. I'm interested in the geriatric matchup of Vitor Belfort and Lyoto Machida.
Indeed.
Two masterful, explosive strikers who are way past their prime.
Yeah.
I
I would have loved to have seen this fight like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah,
Would have been
which,
really good.
It's amazing how much difference 6 or 7 years makes, but
In the fight game, it's a lifetime, right?
yeah, it is.
It's-
That's what a
I mean, this would have
difference
been
a day
well,
makes.
in
No,
today's day and age. This is the opener for the main card. 5 years ago, this would have been a headliner.
Oh, that's a fucking headliner and a half.
It could still be a headliner, of course. But
I would still say that. Maybe on a Fox Sports one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Not a pay per view
on a Spike TV,
But
yeah.
it's a decent card overall. It's one of those cards where there's not one of those big giant fights that you really want to see, but they're all consistently decent.
I just saw it on Instagram. When is the Mauler Gustafson? When is he
Gustafson,
fighting?
they're trying to set up a potential. So here's the deal: they're trying to. Dana White was on Matt Serra's podcast the other day, and he said they're trying to set up a super card where they do, get this, GSP versus Nate Diaz at 155. They try
I
to
can
do
tolerate it.
Gustafson versus Rockhold at
Rockhold,
205.
that's the one I was
like
thinking
that
of,
a lot. And then Dillashaw versus Garbrandt, I believe.
Don't you love Dillashaw's name?
Dillashaw.
It sounds like the name of like a Keebler elf or something.
Yeah, it
Fucking
kinda
Dilly
does,
Dally
doesn't
Shaw.
it?
Like
Yeah.
it's adorable.
He,
Especially for a little.
He kind of looks like a Keeberloaf too, his face.
Yeah.
I got to see him fight. Well, when I saw him fight live in Sacramento, and it was when he was supposed to be fighting Barao the second time,
Mm-hmm.
and Barao couldn't make weight, so I forever will root against Renan Barao.
Fair enough.
But he ended up fighting Joe Soto instead, and he just completely dismantled him, start to finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say who, and then that's
it was a pretty bad card.
you answered before I.
But that GSP versus Nate Diaz thing is interesting. I personally think GSP would just butt rape him.
I think
I don't even think
it's a shit awful fucking matchup for a guy like Nate Diaz.
horrible.
It's not even to say this is not what I'm saying, but it's not even to say that they're different skill levels. They're just fucking
Too big.
The
The
types,
gap,
the
size
types
gap.
of skill level.
The types
is-
of the number one, the size gap. Now, if the interesting factor would be, okay, GSP hasn't fought at 155 yet. I actually think he could get to 155, but it's like, how is he going to perform at 155? That's a question mark. If he performs just as good at 155 as he does at 170, he's going to destroy Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz does notoriously horrible. Him and Nick both do notoriously bad against power wrestlers.
Right.
Look at all their losses on their records.
That
power
being
wrestlers.
said,
and that's
Nick Diaz did a pretty good job at defending takedowns.
he
when-
did,
when
but he's
yeah.
to me, Nick is like a bigger, better version of Nate.
That's exactly my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
They fight very similar, but Nick Diaz is like he's like an elite version of Nate, whereas
Exactly.
Nate is really good. Nate is elite.
He
but
is.
but he's not like top shelf elite. Like
No,
Nick is.
Nate is elite, but he gets beat by the top shelf elite.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at Nate.
Exactly.
Because if you really
And Nick does not.
Nick can
fights-
actually
Nick can hold his own.
I mean, Nick
against top
has
shelf
been
elite.
beat by some top
Yeah.
shelf, but he's beaten some top shelf
Right,
too.
exactly. That's my
So
point.
yeah, And especially with Nate too. I feel like after that,
I also want to mention, I'm a fucking long time Nick Diaz fan. I've been a Nick Diaz fan since the first time I saw him fight Jeremy Jackson.
Yep.
Way back in the fucking day.
Now,
like nonstop.
A lot
I
of
don't give
people,
a fuck.
a lot of
Stockton,
people,
motherfucker, 209.
After that first Conor McGregor fight, a lot of people like hopped on the Nate train, and they were like, "But like, look, he's like you said, he's an elite fighter. He's really good. But if you go back and look at his record, like every chance he's ever had to really take it to that next level, he didn't. You know, when he fought Benson Henderson, that was his only title shot, and he got fucking mauled in that fight.
Well, I think we've talked about this in a podcast before, but I mean, look at the way Conor McGregor fights. Like, we can't look at people just as legends and icons. We have to look at people as competitors when we're talking about fighters. And you have to look at the strengths and weaknesses of fighters. Nate Diaz is not really an ideal matchup for Conor McGregor.
No,
especially at his weight class,
right?
And not at Conor's.
Yeah,
Conor is fast and explosive. Nate can't be knocked out.
Right. So Conor's not a great wrestler.
Yeah. Conor's a
So
good wrestler. But
it's a recipe for a good
not a great wrestler.
But it's a recipe for a good matchup.
We also
a bad matchup for Conor, but a good fight.
Yeah,
that we should
exactly.
say.
A good fight, a bad matchup for Conor. That's not the. You can take a fighter who's a 7 and put him against a fighter who's a 10, and if it's a bad matchup, that 7 can be a 9, and that 10 can be an 8.
Yes.
Like, that's just how it is.
Yes.
It's not 100%, but it shifts the odds based on styles.
Yeah. So if they can get that matchup, that's a fun matchup, though. I would love to see it. I would really look forward to it. Rockhold versus Gustafsson is a fun co-main. Even though I think Rockhold will get fucking destroyed by Gustafsson.
I think so too. Maybe not. Rockhold's a solid fighter. Rockhold is also...
but he's been looking chinny.
He's been looking a little chinny, and Gus knows how to touch that chin.
Yes. And you like Gus.
Gus is a chin artist.
To me, Gus is like almost like a bigger version of Rockhold, but just better. He moves better. He's got more power on his punches.
I wouldn't really compare the two. I think Rockhold is a lot more of like not to bold-faced disagree with you, but I personally don't see it. Is all I'm saying.
Well, they're not similar. Like, okay,
I think I see a lot more power kicks from Rockhold.
Yeah.
Rockhold has that kind of solid balance position, whereas Gus has more fluid movement.
Moves his feet more.
He has better footwork.
Yeah.
He has. I don't know if he's like point A to point B faster, but he has a more.
He's got better
fast,
accuracy.
Right, he has more of a fast feel because all of his movements kind of come together and they flow off.
He doesn't have a lot of
better.
wasted motion.
Right, that's a better way of putting it.
I think Gus has better takedowns. Rockhold probably has. It's hard to say anybody has
Also,
a better top game than Rockhold.
You forget. Fucking Gus has really good takedowns.
Uh-huh.
We fucking often forget about that.
Took down Daniel Cormier and John Jones.
Yeah, he took down John Jones.
And John Jones didn't even take him down.
He took down John Jones more times than John Jones took him down.
I still,
in the
till
fight.
this day, I've rewatched that fight 3 times. I still, to this day, think Gustafsson won that
fucking
fight.
do too, dude. I've watched.
I just don't get it. Like when I watch that fight with people, and they tell me,
so John Jones landed 2 really clean shots on him. To me, didn't even phase him.
Yeah.
Excuse fucking me.
And also too, the first 3 rounds, I thought Gustafsson just picked him apart on the feet. Like they looked like they were too. Like I remember watching that fight, and
Gus looked like he was doing everything he wanted to do.
Yeah,
and was just getting away with it.
Absolutely. And I remember watching that fight from my bed, and I rewatched it later that night, but I purposefully didn't check the results, and I streamed it later that night. And I remember after the fight was over, laying there thinking to myself, "Holy shit, Alexander Gustafsson is the new world champion. He just fucking beat John Jones, first guy." And then I was shocked at the announcement.
Well, the first time I thought that was when I saw, like, the first time I had that exact feeling was when I watched Shogun and
Machida. Yeah,
I had that. I was like,
that was pretty fucking shocking.
I remember I was texting my girlfriend because I'm a fucking MMA nerd, and I'm like, Shogun just won a round. Shogun just won 2 rounds. Shogun just won 3 rounds. Shogun just won every fucking round. He won the entire fight, and they gave the fight to Machida, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
That was so fucking weird. Like I don't know what was going through the judge's head on that one.
I disliked Machida for a long time based on that. Which is not fair because since
it was even though I thought Shogun took every round, I would still say it was like a good,
it was
competitive
a great
fight. But he clearly won the rounds. You know,
Shogun won that fight off of something that judges don't score well enough, leg kicks.
Leg kicks, yeah.
But he was devastating him with leg kicks, and he was landing other things too.
He completely neutralized any kind of danger from Machida with the leg kicks.
And I fucking in retrospect, I'm a huge fan of Machida.
Well, and then they rebooked the fight, and Shogun came back and just fucking KO'd him.
He was like, you know what I'm gonna do is not leave this to the judges, and I'm gonna push you to fucking sleep.
Yep. And then I think after that was right after that was when Shogun fought Jones, right? And then that's when Jones won the title, I think.
Was that right after that Shogun fought?
I'm pretty sure because I think they booked Shogun versus Rashad. Then Rashad fell out, and they had Jones step in on like 3 weeks' notice.
By the way, for those of you that are listening that don't know, Shogun is actually my favorite fighter. So when we talk about him, it's always very personal. It's almost like a loss to myself when Shogun gets beat, but like.
I don't have favorites myself. I'm kind of like that bandwagon hopper.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of like whoever's hot at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm like Mugatu from Zoolander. I'm like, Zoolander. Oh, so hot right now.
Hansel, he's so hot right now. No, which, to be honest, that's actually more of a logical way to be. Fans don't like it because they go, "What, bro? You don't like my favorite?"
Well, there's people that I do like lean towards. Like I'm into. I really liked Carlos Condit for a while. I still like him
for a while when he was big.
Bad.
When he was at the top, I was a big fan of Carlos Condit. When he was at the top,
I liked him a lot. I don't know. I just like guys who bring violent fights. You know, I like entertaining fights.
That's why Shogun's my favorite,
right?
Because Shogun is high skill, high violence.
Yeah,
Shogun brings violence and skill to the same fucking page, and that's why I like it. Shogun doesn't come out and pussyfoot around to win a fight. He's gonna fucking drive in and work.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what people forget about McGregor is like everybody now wants to criticize and be like he talked his way to the top and this and like look at his record though. All of his fights are super fucking flashy finishes. Whether it's him getting finished or him finishing the other guy, like super fucking entertaining as fuck.
Now we talked about this before in another podcast, but what I would like to say though is yes, flashy finishes, but go online, watch any one of Conor McGregor's fights, at least in the UFC, because I haven't really researched his fights outside of the UFC much. Watch any one of his fights and find a boring minute in any of them.
Yeah, they're all exciting.
Every fucking, it's not just the finishes, it's the whole fight is flashy. The whole fight is exciting.
Yeah.
Everything about it. His fight with Max Holloway, he fucking tore his ACL, and that is a massive injury.
Yeah.
And he dominated that fight on the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe not his most exciting fight, still fucking exciting. Yeah. I don't really remember that fight being boring at all.
Yeah, indeed. And, they have some... I was looking over the card here for this weekend. We've got UFC 224, and they have some pretty exciting matchups. You have... we already talked about Vitor versus Lyoto. You've got the headliner, Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington. I'm always excited for an Amanda Nunes fight because she always has violent fights. They're always actually her last fight wasn't her and Valentina. That last fight was kind of a snoozer. But her and Pennington, that's a decent matchup. She's probably just gonna fucking steamroll Pennington. I mean, it's hard for me to see Pennington winning that match. Yeah. But Pennington has a decent little win streak going right now. 4-fight win streak. She just beat Miesha Tate, Elizabeth Phillips, Beth Correa, and Jessica Andrade. And she fought Holly Holm back in 2015, and that was Holly Holm's UFC debut. And Holly Holm won that via split decision, so that was like a fairly close fight. So she's got a solid record, but we'll see what happens. It's not a super strong main event in my opinion, but
to be honest, I haven't really watched a lot of her fights.
She's kind of like a jack of all trades. She's not
Right.
like super
No,
standout in any one. I think she's pretty good on the ground though, from what I remember. She's kind of a
Sure,
scrapper
sure.
on the feet, and she's pretty good on the ground.
Yeah, I just I recall like a general like aptitude as
Yeah.
I'm watching it. It's like
Yeah.
you're not really like blowing my mind in one way or another. And I have this thing from a fighter's perspective. When I see someone, this is not correct, by the way. So don't listen to this and base your opinions of fighting on this. But I have this way of looking at fights when I see someone who doesn't really stand out in a way, and then someone who has a particular skill set. I always see that skill set fitting in for the win. Like if someone's really good at submissions, or someone has a really fucking nasty armbar or something, and they're fighting this other person who's just generally kind of good everywhere, I always see that armbar fitting in, you know,
Right.
as a stand. Or if somebody's like a really powerful knockout artist and they're fighting someone who's just kind of generally good everywhere, I see that knockout kind of fitting in, you know? Mm-hmm. Which is definitely not always the case.
Right.
But I can't help looking at it that way.
Yeah. Well, we've also got, this is the fight that I'm personally the most excited about, Jacare Souza versus Kelvin Gastelum. I really, really like that fight because it's two guys who are both pretty dangerous. I know Gastelum is coming off of a few knockouts. He just knocked out Bisping. He had a loss to Chris Weidman in there via arm triangle choke. So I do think that the size difference could be an issue for him against Jacare, because Jacare obviously is pretty fucking good on the ground. Mm-hmm. He knocked out Vitor Belfort about a year ago. Knocked out Tim Kennedy right before that. Johnny Hendricks. So he's got a nice little...
That's a nice repertoire.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about before this podcast, we were actually discussing this fight. Now, Jacare is a fucking monster. Jacare is devastating in everything.
Yeah.
He's a finisher,
Yeah.
like a motherfucker. But Kelvin Gastelum has this weird way of, I don't know how you would put it, brings people down to his level. Like, he doesn't look good when he fights, but he seems to make everyone that he fights worse than him. Like,
Yeah, no, he's...
I don't know what it is exactly. He fights ugly, but he makes it fucking work. And he
doesn't...
beats people.
He does have some pretty clean... I feel like his boxing is pretty clean. Like he's...
Yeah.
But it's not like... But like you said, though, yeah, it's not...
It's not pretty. It's not clean. It doesn't... Clean isn't the word I would use. Effective is the word I would use. Like, when you look at it, it's like, ugh, why is that working? But it is. And
Yeah. Well, and I would be interested in seeing... I know... so you got the champion of the division right now, Robert Whittaker, who got injured. So we're just waiting for him to heal up, and they're going to do him versus Yoel again. Robert Whittaker, to me, is so fucking impressive. Mm-hmm. Like, that dude just, like, he came out of nowhere. I remember the first time I saw him fight, he was on The Ultimate Fighter, and I didn't watch that season. Mm-hmm. The first time I saw him fight was against Stephen Thompson, like, 6 years ago. And I think it was the same card where Conor McGregor fought Dustin Poirier, and then Daniel Cormier fought Patrick Cummins. And he got knocked out by Stephen Thompson, and I was like, oh, who's this? I just assumed that, he's an average welterweight. He's not going to be anything special. Then he goes up to middleweight, and he just starts fucking KOing everybody. Like, listen to this list of people this dude's KO'd in a row. Clint Hester, Brad Tavares. He beat Uriah Hall. He beat Rafael Natal. Then he KO'd Derek Brunson. Then he KO'd Jacare with a head kick and punches. Then he beat Yoel Romero when he injured his fucking leg or his foot or whatever in the very first round, and he was basically fighting off one leg.
Yeah.
That guy's fucking takedown defense is incredible. His striking, he's so fucking explosive. Like, it's crazy. Like, the first thing I said when GSP was fighting Bisping, anybody I would talk to about that, I'd be like, trust me, dude. GSP is not going to stick around and fight Whittaker. Like, at this stage in GSP's career, I think Whittaker would destroy him because he's just too fucking fast. He's too, like, he's right now, Whittaker is just in his prime. I mean, he is just fucking, He's on a whole
We're
nother
talking
level.
about a younger
Yeah.
athlete who shows the same level of promise. Like,
Right, he's only 27.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's fucking. So I'm really interested to see how that second fight against Yoel turns out, and if he wins that one, to see where they go from there. Because maybe they could do a rematch with Jacare if he wins tomorrow night, or they can do a brand new fight against Gastelum if he wins.
Sure.
But some pretty interesting matchups nonetheless. Although I do think Gastelum should go back down to 170 if he could.
He's
quit
kind of
being-
fat. He's kind of fat at middleweight.
But that's the thing, yeah, is he's fat. He could easily, if he was just more disciplined, he could easily cut the fucking weight.
All right, I gotta let you take the reins for a minute. I gotta take a piss.
So Keith is gonna go take a piss. Now that I'm on the radio by myself, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys out there have ever seen Wayne's World. I can't imagine that you haven't, because if you grew up in the 90s, chances are you've probably seen Wayne's World. But there's a scene in Wayne's World where Wayne walks off set and then Garth is left to be on set by himself. And he's just kind of like staring at the camera and he's unsure of what to say or what to do. And it's just really weird. And they play this weird music in the background. And I was thinking about it and I was like, that's almost kind of like what this is. I'm just sitting here. I'm forced to kind of talk to myself and introspect my own mind. And that's what came out. It was the scene from Wayne's World where Garth clams up in front of the camera. I would hope that I'm not doing the same right now. I think I'm doing a fairly decent job of keeping this internal dialogue rolling. But if you guys haven't seen Wayne's World, what are you doing with your life? You need to go watch fucking Wayne's World. Go watch it. You should have seen it already. It's 2018. It's a classic.
So you guys ever get drunk before noon, and then go to take a piss, and just like throw your arms back and feel like you're blowing a Kamehameha wave out of your cock, like
Yeah,
into the
I do
toilet?
that all
Like,
the
that's-
time.
That's
One of my favorite
I
things
felt like I
ever.
was gonna blow a hole right through the fucking toilet seat. I'm all, "Ah!"
One of my favorite things ever is when I really, really have to go pee, and I quickly walk into the house. My dogs are nipping at my feet, wanting attention. I'm like, no, guys, no. I go to
This
the
is
bathroom,
dangerous.
and I do it the same way every time. Is I'll pull my pants down, I'll place my hands up against the wall, and I'll just go, oh my God. And I'll just lean up against the wall. And that's how I'll do it.
It just feels so strong, like
Yeah.
like just the current of my piss is just like lifting.
It's
Like-
really satisfying though.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think. I was just I was talking to Ariana about this like fairly recently when I told her, I was like, no, really, have you ever thought about it? Is there anything more satisfying? I don't know if it's just because does it feel different I wonder if it feels different for a woman when they have to go pee. Like I wonder if their urge to go pee feels different from a man's.
I don't know, but I have heard. I don't know if this is true or not. I can't even remember where the source is that I've heard this from, but I've heard that little like microgasm that we get when you take a really good piss. That women don't get that. I don't know if that's true. Ladies, go ahead and comment. Tell us if you get a microgasm when you have to piss really bad.
Do you get a microgasm when you pee? Well, what I was telling Ariana is that it's just like it might be the most satisfying thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could think of anything more satisfying than when you really have to go pee and you just let it out.
Well, how shitty of a feeling is it to really have to pee and not be able to?
It's pretty horrible. I mean, what can you can't really do. You're like incapacitated basically.
You know what I've started doing, like as an Uber driver, I'll pull over in certain areas. Like I have to pee a lot. Like I'm drinking coffee while I'm driving. I'm working like 12, 16-hour shifts sometimes, and I'll be in downtown LA. You know, you can't just stop somewhere. There aren't places to park, and you can't. So
if you guys haven't been to downtown LA, you're kind of just fucked.
Yeah.
If you got to go
So
pee.
I'll get out to like USC area where there's some neighborhoods and stuff, and I'll just park in like a red curb. and I'll open up my door and just stand outside of the door, and I'll just piss in the fucking in the gutter. Like,
Keith, you might want to lay low for a while after this. Maybe get a safe house.
maybe
Don't let your friends and
killed a man
family
with a trident.
because you are incriminating yourself.
No, yeah, just so I want the cops to know. Keep an eye out for me. I'm pissing in the streets.
The Golden State, the Golden Shower urinator.
The Golden State Golden Shower.
Well, I've actually done that before. Not that exactly, but I remember one time I was coming.
Once you become an Uber driver, you'll know.
Well,
You'll
it was in between clients, and I had like a half hour to run and go get something to eat. And I remember before I left the gym telling myself, all right, you got a half hour, you need to hurry. But then I really had to go pee, and I was like, you know what? No, it's fine. I can hold it. I'm in a rush. Didn't have time to go pee. So I go get something to eat, and after I eat my food, I realize, like, fuck, I really have to go pee. But for whatever reason, I was in a rush to get back to the gym, and I just didn't pee where I was at. And I was like, you know what, I can make it back to the gym. And then I get to, like, the first stoplight by Albertsons, and I was like, I can't fucking make it. And I'm sitting there behind the wheel, and I'm literally jumping up in my seat, like, hopping back and forth, like, fuck. And that's what I'm saying to myself. I'm going, fuck.
Clenching your abdomen, just trying not to let the piss go all the way to your dick.
And I'm going, turn, come on, fucking turn. Finally, the light turns green. I just fucking hightail it.
And the relief of the light turning green causes me to just piss myself.
Luckily, I had some empty like mineral water bottles in my car, so I hang a fucking turn. I pull into a residential. I just whip out one of those mineral bottles, and I just start peeing in the mineral water bottle. And it was horrible because I pissed all over myself because it's really, really hard to aim into this tiny little bottle top. So I get pee all over myself, and then I had to pee so bad that I filled up the entire first like fucking liter
you pulled
mineral
the Dumb
bottle.
and Dumber where you had to switch bottles?
I had to switch bottles, so I had to hold it in. But when I tried to hold it in, it gets everywhere. Then I had to start on another one. It was fucking horrible. So
I got pulled over by Rocket Man.
The
He
lesson
took a sip of my mineral water.
The lesson of the story is don't hold your pee. Don't get too confident because a lot of times that'll creep up on you, and before you know it, you're off to the races. And
don't be super confident about your pee. First chance you get, use that bathroom.
Well, I feel like I have a really weak bladder because when I gotta go, it just hits me and I gotta go.
No, dude, it happens to me too. It depends on what you drink. Like, I'll go like 8 to 10 hour shifts where I don't have to pee once and I'm fucking cool. But then I have times where like every 30 minutes I feel like I'm gonna fucking explode if I don't get this shit out of me. Like, and that it depends on what I'm drinking.
Well, guys, careful with your pee.
Careful with your pee.
What
were you talking about when I was in the bathroom? It sounded interesting.
I was saying that as soon as I was on the mic here by myself, I was talking about that scene in Wayne's World where Wayne walks off set and Garth is just kind of sitting like, in front of the camera. And he's like, hey, and he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was kind of describing how that would be like my worst fear to do that.
To just like fucking freeze?
Yeah.
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 Of course.
Which was really fun. And then I proceeded to tell everybody how they needed to see Wayne's World if they hadn't seen it already.
Sure. Well, speaking of 90s cinema, and actually probably earlier than 90s cinema, if I'm being completely honest, a little throwback that has been on YouTube Red and available in other sources if you're looking for it. Has anybody else here seen Cobra Kai?
Oh man, I was gonna bring this up.
I am so fond of it.
Okay,
I'm about.
How deep are you in?
I'm about like 4, maybe 5 episodes.
Okay,
in,
I'm only 2 because they give you the first 2 for free.
Right. I know the name of the episode that I just finished.
Wait, are you streaming it or something?
Yeah, I'm streaming it online.
Okay.
And the episode I just watched is called Quiver.
Don't tell me anything about. I can't know anything past...
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so I can't know anything past the first 2.
The first person... I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus here or anything. The first person who told me anything about the show, when I knew it was coming out already, they were watching it, they were like, oh man, it's so terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then I talked to somebody else, and they were like, no, watch it. And I have been fucking loving it. I'm not at all disappointed.
Yeah, I can. I don't know how anybody could think it's terrible.
I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a really good show.
So it's funny you brought this up because, like I said, I just kind of stumbled upon it. I was like making breakfast the other day, and I was trying to figure out something to watch, and it popped up into my suggested videos. I really liked The Karate Kid growing up. I wasn't like a diehard super fan, but I always thought it was a good movie.
Same.
And
as a person involved and interested in martial arts too, that was a big thing.
I remember thinking to myself, when I saw the trailer for Cobra Kai, I thought that looks fucking terrible. There's no way that's going to be good.
I thought that, but I also was like really excited about it at the same time. Like I was looking at it like, sure, this is gonna be fucking retarded. I don't care. I'm still gonna enjoy it, and it's actually not bad in that.
No,
in that
okay.
sense.
Here's the thing: like, it's really good.
Yeah,
they do an amazing job at taking this, and like I said, I thought it was gonna be horribly corny and stupid, but it does a good job. It's really smart. It's really self-aware. And it makes
very self-aware.
The thing I love about it the most is you really feel like you're in the Karate Kid universe. It feels like it is a true continuation of that story.
But it feels like that, but it somehow really connects it to a real world kind of feel too.
Yeah.
Like how fucking Danny LaRusso isn't with the girl from Karate Kid, or he's just met some other girl in his life. And
I really hope they have a cameo from her.
For sure
the road,
they're going
though.
to.
They got to have Elizabeth Shue in there because that's like,
how fucking Johnny Lawrence is just he's just a fucking trashed out asshole getting fucking wasted.
I really like it too, because
like,
it's perfect. Like I love how they make it where Johnny is like he's still living in that defeat from his teenage years.
But it's not like he's constantly present in that moment. He just is like it's defined who he is now.
Yeah.
I fucking almost shit a chicken when he beats up those kids in the parking lot, and it's
pretty hilarious.
It's just a mirror flip of Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Except he's beating them up because they threw the kid on his car. That's the only reason why.
Well, look, hey, Johnny is an asshole. Okay, he's a lifelong asshole.
Yeah, but being an asshole, as this show points out, doesn't make you a bad guy.
No, and that's what I like about it. It's really clever because they make they tell the story. The first 2 episodes, they tell the story from Johnny's perspective, and they tell the story from Daniel's perspective.
So one thing I wanted to point out is this is referential to that viral YouTube video that came out a while ago about how Danny LaRusso was the villain in Karate Kid.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't think I've ever seen this.
You haven't?
No.
Oh man, you would love it. This is okay. So
he is the real villain, though, if you think about it.
No, that's exactly what the video does. Is it goes through this very detailed run through of how Danny LaRusso stole Johnny Lawrence's girlfriend, shows up in town and starts causing trouble, and like there's a whole series of events, and it shows how, and then Mr. Miyagi, an adult with a black belt in karate, uses his skills to assault a group of minors. There's a whole fucking thing about it. And so they kind of do that. They kind of like reference that in the show Cobra Kai, how Johnny has switched roles from antagonist to protagonist. And as they do that, you kind of realize watching the show how 80s movies have this history of defining who the good guy, quote unquote, and who the quote unquote bad guy is.
Yes.
Based on cinematography and music. The background music based on a certain scenario is meant to be empathetic to one character and aggressive towards another. And really, if you watch that movie without a soundtrack, there's almost a different story being told, you know?
Yeah, and it is really smart how it does that.
Yeah.
It really, by the end of watching the first 2 episodes, even though they have one episode where they give it to you from Johnny's perspective, and they have one episode where they give it to you from Danny's perspective, but you do find yourself rooting for Johnny.
Yeah, and Johnny kind of is more of the the everyman hero kind of character.
Yeah,
He's
well,
getting
because-
drunk off fucking
because
off red stripes
the
and
way
shit,
that they
like-
portray Danny is, you know, he's the owner of his own big company
Mm-hmm.
now. He's Mr. Successful. They kind of make him look like this, like the American dream asshole almost.
Right.
Like this guy who's got everything.
Absolutely. That's
and
a
he
great
wants
way
to
to put-
take everything. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And there's
and he also is like getting fucking carried away, like
Right.
trying. I don't know if you've gotten that far. I'm not gonna give anything
no,
away.
yeah.
But he's
Don't
kind
go
of.
past 2 episodes.
Yeah.
because I'm fucking, as you guys can tell, I'm into this fucking show.
I'm fucking
and I
into
was
it
too
too.
cheap to shell out for the YouTube Red, but you know what? I might just do it just to support this show. If there's any feds listening
Very,
out there.
very fond of it. I'm actually surprised at how good the acting is. I
It is,
really
yeah.
expected the acting to be a lot worse, and it's not perfect, to be honest.
No,
but
it's
I
not
think
supposed to be.
That's exactly what I was about
Yeah.
to say. I was saying the acting follows the feel of the Karate Kid.
Yeah,
It
because if
has
they
that-
had these guys come in and they tried to do major, heavy, dramatic acting, it wouldn't fall in line
Yeah.
with the Karate Kid tone.
like there's a lot of scenes where like Johnny will be in conflict with people and he'll be like, "Hey, screw you, buddy."
yeah.
And they'll be like, "Hey, screw you,
I
man."
love how Johnny's just like always berating the kid that he's training and calling him a pussy. And my personal favorite scene, I knew right away that I was gonna like this show because it opens up with Johnny rolls out of bed, he takes a swig of a old crusty beer and he almost vomits. And then he proceeds to go to the stove and fry up a couple pieces of bologna.
Oh,
for
yeah, that was
breakfast. Breakfast of champions.
Fucking breakfast bologna.
Which I loved because that's like it's
That is
it's
a
so
perfect-
cliched, but it works.
Yeah. And in 2018, this guy is watching a fucking like a 10-inch screen, fucking
Right.
round screen TV
Yeah.
in his
Yep.
kitchen,
And
and
it-
it's like literally you can get a flat screen TV for free on Craigslist nowadays.
And but it works because it's like that. Do you ever see End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
yeah,
He's like a down and out
Yeah.
cop.
No, it's
very
he
very
wakes
end
up.
of
Days.
He wakes up at the beginning of the movie and he throws like a fucking some
He
milk,
throws like a
piece of
pizza.
pizza in a blender. And he blends it up and drinks it. That is one of the most cliched
Yeah.
things in like a 80s 90s action
Like,
movie when
I
the guy
think the only thing would have been better is if he's frying up the bologna and then he throws like an old piece of pizza.
Did you ever see the episode of South Park, the Bat Dad episode?
Yeah.
So it's like when
I
Stan.
thought this is America.
Yeah, when Stan's dad, Randy, he decides he needs to start training.
Yeah.
So like there's
You're
a
the best.
scene. You're the best. Yeah.
And then
So there's
that's
a scene-
actually a Karate Kid reference, yeah.
ties into it. So there's a
I
scene.
fucking hope that at some point they play that song on the show.
So there's a scene where Stan's dad, Randy, goes to he cracks a couple of eggs into a glass, and you think it's gonna be like Rocky
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
chugs it, and then he
just
pours
pours
the
them in-
glass into the fucking
Pours it in the
frying
skillet,
pan.
like, yeah.
He starts frying it up, then he cracks open a beer and starts drinking it. Oh man.
Oh, that's so good. And it's funny how we came around the full circle there with the.
It's
with
perfect,
the song.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's all one. It all ties together.
There is a scene on this episode Quiver that I just watched. I'm not gonna give anything away, but like the ending scene of the episode had like hairs standing up on the back of my neck. It got me
Wow,
fucking pumped.
it gets that intense,
dude. It gets intense in a cheesy, corny kind of way. Like I watched this
Perfect.
movie growing up, and like you're gonna fucking love it. I want you to watch this episode right away, so that you
Well-
can reflect on this with me. But like I was so pumped.
Here's what I can say.
I was like, this is where I got to leave off on this.
When you have shows like Cobra Kai coming out, I think it's a sign of a much bigger paradigm shift. When you have shows like Cobra Kai coming out on YouTube, because when did that Karate Kid remake come out? Like 10 years ago, the one with Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
That was just a fucking dumpster fire piece of fucking dog
that
excrement.
has been buried under the remains.
So goddamn horrible. And when you have all these different media
Where it
platforms.
wasn't even karate, it was kung fu.
It's horrible. When they have all these different media platforms like YouTube and Hulu and fucking all these just Voodoo and all these different things that you can stream your media
Voodoo,
from.
Hulu, YouTube, and YouTube,
what
and Do You, all right?
and Mufu and Fubu. What it signifies though is something bigger. It's a big paradigm shift, and it really opens up the opportunity for all these smaller media platforms to do shit right. I mean, you're getting content now from so many different places. Like, this is essentially the Karate Kid sequel that everybody wanted.
Right.
This is it. And you're getting it all these years later.
We're completely excluding Karate Kid 2.
Yeah.
And I think 3 and 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Karate Kid 3, I think, or I don't know if it was 4, the one that came out in the 90s had Hilary Swank in it. And it
I don't
also had
remember that.
it had Mr. Miyagi, and I remember there was a scene at the beginning. Mr. Miyagi decides to start training Hilary Swank's character. He chooses her.
I vaguely remember that.
So
like,
she almost gets hit by a car, but then last minute on instinct, she just jumps up and jumps onto the hood of the car. Mr. Miyagi sees that and he's like, "You have good instinct.
You've got the gift."
Yeah, you've got the gift." So he decides to start training her. Some shit like that.
Right. Who wouldn't after they see something like that? If I was teaching at a martial arts school and I see a girl jump onto the hood of a car to avoid her getting hit by it, I'd be like,
I think I'm just gonna train
I think
her.
I'm gonna
I think
train
we got
her.
something. I think we got something.
I think
here.
we got some stuff to work with here.
Yeah, no, that's true. You know what? I was thinking of it like it wasn't great, but now that I look at it, that's pretty sensical on Mr. Miyagi's part to train her based on those reasons. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen Cobra Kai, definitely check it out because if you're a fan of the Karate Kid, it's like a must. It's not even if you're a fan of the Karate Kid, if you're just a fan of just cheesy 80s fucking action and all that other shit, there's no way you're not gonna like it. It's just really good.
I love how every time something's like going down or there's a dramatic moment for one of the characters, they start playing like, I don't even know if it's real 80s music or if it's like 80s synth music.
I think it's 80s synth. It's like 80s rebranded.
Well, I don't. There's one song in it that sounds like there's this 80s synth producer that I listen to sometimes because, you know, don't judge me, I fucking like it. It's called Future Cop, and there's one song on there that they actually play that I know.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Well, there's this whole wave of that. What do they call it? It's
80 synth. That's what that's.
No, but there's a different name for it. It's like retro wave or synth wave or something like that.
Maybe,
but there's a
it's
bunch
what
of
it-
dudes. They have there's because I listened to some of that
Yeah.
too. There's like a guy named Trevor something, and then they have all these different.
So
Kavinsky.
when I like train, when I do like sparring and shit, I like to listen to like hip hop. I like to listen to like Vinny Paz and shit. Like that gets me pumped. When I lift weights, I'll do like similar stuff to that, or sometimes I'll listen to like podcasts because I'm not really trying to go too fast with that. It's slower motion. But when I'm running and shit, I like listening to that 80s synth stuff because it makes me feel like I'm in a John Cusack movie. I'm like, I can do it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm in Karate Kid and I'm training for the big
I'm
fucking
a
tournament.
I'm a big John Cusack fan. I really like
Me too.
a lot of John
he's
Cusack
a
stuff.
he's a black belt in American kickboxing.
You can tell because one of my top 5, I would say.
say anything?
No.
No,
No,
because he kickboxes. in
No,
that
I do
movie.
like Say Anything though, and I remember that. No, one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite fight scenes is Gross Point Blank. Have you ever seen that?
I have not, but I know
Okay.
what you're talking about.
Gross Point Blank, you have to watch if you haven't seen it because it's like a hilarious black comedy from the '90s where he plays his
a
name is
hitman,
Martin
yeah.
Blank, yeah, and he's a hitman who has to go back to his hometown Gross Point to do a hit. Simultaneously is his 10-year high school reunion that same weekend that he has to do the hit. And there's a scene in that movie where he fights a fellow hitman, And the guy that he fights was actually a real. It was his. I think it was his instructor in real life.
really? That's
yeah,
cool.
but he's this little dude. His name's like, and I think his nickname was like Benny the Jet something.
Oh, Urquidez. Benny Urquidez.
It might have been him. I'll have to look it up.
Now, Benny Urquidez, for those of you who don't know, is a legitimate like American style kickboxing expert. He's like a karate kickboxing style expert. Very real. Did a lot of competition. Was in some just awful movies. Lots of real bad movies.
Benny Urquidez, that's him. That's the guy.
Benny Urquidez is a real deal as far as his actual martial arts.
Oh yeah, he is. Look at I've got his what do you call it right here? His background: black belt in Kempo Karate, black belt in Muay Thai, black belt in Taekwondo, black belt in Jiu Jitsu, black belt in Shotokan Karate, black belt in I can't even fucking pronounce that, Jukenbo. Black belt in Kendo, black belt in kickboxing. So he's got a black belt in fucking everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Benny Urquidez is fucking real deal. Not good enough of an actor to be in any movies worth watching. But,
but he's good in this movie because they didn't give him any dialogue. He played a foreigner.
Yeah, perfect,
dude. And his fucking record, holy shit! How did I not know this?
I don't know his record either.
This
so we're
guy's
about to hear some
record
shit.
is 49 wins, 35 by knockout, 2 losses, 1 draw, 2 no contests.
That's some
so
shit.
So he's got a fucking majorly professional record.
Yeah, excellent record.
That's crazy.
Well, what is his record in? Is that in American kickboxing? Is that in Kempo Karate? Is that his Muay Thai record?
This is all in WKA.
World Kickboxing Association?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's kickboxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is still good. Don't let that take anything away.
Because back when this guy was, this guy's first fight was in 1974.
Yeah.
So if you were a martial artist back then, the options were limited. There wasn't no UFC to go test yourself.
Sure. And even Muay Thai was super limited because there wasn't a lot of Muay Thai outside of Thailand back then.
Right. Yeah, okay, so and from the start, 11, and he also has 11 undocumented matches, winning 10, drawing 1, 10 victories by way of KO. So there's 10 undocumented ones on top of that he won by KO. So this guy's majorly legit. And it's not surprising because this fight scene that he has in Grosse Pointe Blank with John Cusack is fucking incredible. It's only like 3 minutes long, but it's so well choreographed and it feels so raw and real. It's not perfect because no movie fight scene can ever replicate a real fight.
Right.
But it's really fucking good. Really good.
And a movie fight scene isn't supposed to replicate a real fight. I think that's a really big point that we have to make here.
Yeah.
A movie fight scene is stylized. It's more of a dance. It's more of like showing off moves. It's the difference between professional wrestling and catch wrestling. We're displaying stuff.
Yeah.
For you to get excited.
Yeah, it was just
from.
like we talked about on the first podcast. We were talking about how it's more of an exhibition as opposed to a contest. Because it's a movie. It's entertainment. You got to make the fucking thing as exciting as possible.
You got to make it fun to watch.
Yeah.
I did know that that the Sack was a black belt in kickboxing. I didn't know it was under Benny Urquidez. That's super interesting to know, and that actually gives me a lot of motivation to watch that movie now. Because I would
good.
just love to see that.
And it's just
scene.
It's got a really clever sense of humor. I like everything about it. The soundtrack on it is awesome. It's got a really cool blend of like a lot of 80s new wave and kind of big 80s pop hits. Just like a super underrated movie in general.
Well, speaking of a movie with a lot of throwback to 80s new wave and pop hits and stuff, what was your thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming when that came out? I know we're a couple months behind the times on that, but I got something specific that I want to talk to about this. Oh.
I'm going to start by saying I saw it at the drive-in, so I do feel like I didn't get the full, really... Because you know how when you see big action, you never want to see a movie like that at the drive-in because it's really difficult to see all the special effects and... It's hard to get as lost in it. But with that being said, I thought it was pretty decent overall. It was kind of like a lot of the other Marvel movies in the sense that They're really, really fun when you go to see them.
Overblown.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
but it's not like I probably am. I probably won't watch it again. Not because I didn't like it. I loved it. It was great. But it's just like, you know, it was just a good, solid Spider-Man movie.
It was a pass-through kind of Spider-Man movie to you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was about as good as you're gonna.
So-
I like how they switched it up too. I like how they did stuff differently.
Yeah.
They didn't try to rehash the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. They did their own thing. Because that's what those ones with Andrew Garfield that they came out with a couple years back. Those always felt like they were like kind of within. It's like they were trying to recreate
Like it
that
wasn't
Tobey
different
Maguire
enough
feel
from the Tobey Maguire ones.
No.
So here, my thoughts on the Andrew Garfield ones. I liked very much his personality as Spider-Man. I thought he did a really good job of being that impertinent asshole kid who's like,
Right.
I'm a kid with superpowers and I'm generally good, but I'm still like talking shit to people while I'm fighting him. So I thought Andrew Garfield did a really good job of that. But what I wanted to talk about with Spider-Man Homecoming is I just the other day watched the behind the scenes of that kind of accidentally. I didn't even mean to, but I left a video on and it just kind of weaved into that. And Tom Holland, I'm super impressed with him.
He's like a
having
ninja.
watched it. He's like a fucking ninja.
Yeah.
He's like an
He does
actual
parkour
dude,
and stuff.
Dude, he's a legit gymnast. He's
Yeah.
a dancer, and like you guys would be fucking shocked how much of those Spider-Man stunts that you see, even the CGI Spider-Man, Tom Holland is actually doing that
Yeah,
stuff.
he's
It-
very, very impressive.
Yeah, it is going to blow your mind if you guys fucking watch this shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, he's like a fucking white British Jackie Chan. He does
Yeah.
all of his own stunts, and he like all the CGI Spider-Man stuff is him with the fucking with the receiver suit with all the little like bubbles
mocap
on it.
suit.
Yeah, so that the camera picks it up and records Spider-Man. That's what. Yeah, the mocap suit, the motion capture suit, and it's all that crazy shit, the flips and jumps and climbs that he does. That's him actually doing that crazy shit.
Yeah.
So I was super impressed by that.
He's a great Spider-Man. I do think he's the best Spider-Man yet. I think he by far captures the feel. Tobey Maguire I liked, but he was too old. He was kind of whiny.
I thought Tobey Maguire was too whiny. I
Yeah.
didn't connect Tobey Maguire.
Andrew
I didn't-
Garfield. Now Andrew Garfield, I think was too cool. I think he was too cool to be a Spider-Man.
He was
He looked like a 16-year-old model that they threw a pair of shades on and were like, "Hey, he's dorky now."
I think between Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, both of them British, by the way, I should throw that out there.
Yeah.
Did very good American accents. Very impressed with both of them. Tom Holland hits it more on the head. Tom Holland
Yeah.
hits more of a.
Well, he feels young.
yeah.
I mean, he feels like he's, even though he's like 22
Yeah.
or something.
The way he does the voice, everything about his character, I think he fucking hits the Peter Parker character on the head
Yeah.
more.
I thought
Andrew-
Michael Keaton was really good.
Fucking Michael Keaton laid
killed it.
dick.
I love Michael Keaton too.
I'm a
I mean, who
huge
doesn't? If you grew up in the 90s, you love Michael
Did you
Keaton
know his
because you
real
probably
name is-
love Batman.
Did you know his real name is Michael Douglas?
No way, really? Holy shit!
I just
That's
found
crazy.
this out the other day. So he goes to Melissa's friend's work. Mm-hmm. My sister Melissa, her friend, is a restaurant in Ventura, and Michael Keaton's a regular there. Mm-hmm. And he goes by the name Doug because his real name is Michael Douglas.
Wow.
So you think he just like got famous and was like, "Fuck, I can't be Michael Douglas. We've
No.
already got one of those."
No, his agent from the get-go, his agent was like, "Dude, you're changing your name. This ain't happening. You know who Michael Douglas
You know who
is.
Michael Douglas is?
Crazy bastard." No,
Fucking-
they made him change that right away.
They're a franchise, the Douglases.
Yeah.
Kirk and Michael? You don't
Um,
got a chance. It's all fine.
no.
I'll be a Keaton. Why not?
But he was fucking incredible in that. He's always
Amazing.
good though. I love Michael Keaton.
I've been a major fan of Michael Keaton my entire life. He's my favorite Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
To this day, still my favorite. Not my favorite Batman. My favorite Bruce
Bruce
Wayne.
Wayne.
I don't think anyone has ever embodied the Bruce Wayne character better than Michael Keaton.
I agree.
He has that cool but still funny kind of like rich guy eccentric attitude. He plays that part really well. Then switches to Batman where he's got to be more serious and actually has like lives on the line and shit. I think the only real slip up in Michael Keaton's career was White Noise. Can you think of another one?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm sure if you went down and you really tried to break it down, there would be others. But yeah, I remember White Noise. It wasn't that great.
White Noise was a bit of a letdown.
But he's had a resurgence recently where he was in.
Well, he's gotten back into comedy.
He's gotten back into comedy, but then he had a few Oscar contenders too. Like he was in Spotlight, and he was in. I fucking loved him in Birdman.
Birdman was the movie of the year easily, maybe the movie of the decade.
No, I love, dude. It's funny too because I went to go see that with Ariana, and she thought it was okay. I was I was fucking blown away with it.
I was fucking shattered by Birdman
because you felt like you were watching Michael Keaton's life. Like
that's what it was.
It was perfect.
And then that movie was like made for him. Birdman was Batman,
and the energy. Like there was a lot of good things about Birdman. Number one, if it was made, it felt like it was made for Michael Keaton. Number two, the way
you don't come on my stage and get a massive erection unless I tell you to.
Yeah. The way it was shot, how the camera like frenetically like fucking follows everybody.
Absolutely.
It was Edward
so
Norton
real. It was so alive.
Edward Norton is fucking hilarious in it as his character. Like everybody gave great performances.
Yeah. Everybody kind of in a way played themselves who they are in respect to the other characters. Michael Keaton was this aging character who was this aging actor who was defined by a role that he played early in his career. Birdman, otherwise Batman.
Yeah.
Edward Norton, a younger actor, very hot in Hollywood, very respected and revered,
but a notorious asshole.
A notorious asshole played a respected, revered, notorious asshole who would make your movie an A-lister if he joined in, but he is not going to be easy to work with.
Yeah.
And that was what he played. And Zach Galifianakis was the agent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was fucking great.
You know what, though? I would have to say, I would totally agree. That is in my top 10. In the last 10 years, that would be probably... I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's fucking
up there.
It's one of the few movies, because I don't really repeat.
But you know what? It might be my number one, because it's the only one that stands out as
That's what I was going to say, too, because... And I would have to maybe consider it my number one as well, because... I'm not big on, like, I don't rewatch movies a lot unless I really like them.
I've watched Birdman a couple times.
And Birdman's one of the few movies that I've saw in the last 5 years that I've already rewatched probably 5 times.
I absolutely was legitimately impressed with Birdman. It's almost a hard movie to rewatch because it's so good, because it's not a laid back shut your brain off and watch.
No, movie. You're very engaged when you're watching Birdman.
It's almost like reading a book. You're not just shut down and watching it. You're fucking involved.
Well, and there's so many just like I just love like to me there was just so many like beautiful lines in it, like so much great like rich dialogue, like
it's poetic.
Yeah, it is. It's very there's so many like even when Michael Keaton is just saying something in passing, it's just like it's so good.
If you are listening to this and you haven't watched Birdman, please do yourself a favor. Improve your life and fucking set aside a couple hours of your life to watch this fucking movie.
If you're a fan of like, I don't see how you could be a fan of like almost like more, I don't know, I guess for lack of a better term, like artsy type films, but fine art type films.
So I'm gonna break this down a little more specifically. This movie, the theme of this movie is acting.
Yeah. The
theme of it is acting. Now, it's not... the story is based around a performance, and every scene is dramatized by the monologues. It's all of these actors in this movie get a chance to really show off their monologuing ability, to jump out and throw a scene at you. And then there's even like there's clear-cut lines between monologues and dialogues. When a scene breaks out where two characters are conflicting, you can see it when it starts up. Like the back and forth between Edward Norton and Michael Keaton when he does the one that I just fucking yelled out about, the fucking getting a massive erection on stage.
Yeah.
But they even break that into little sub monologues. But it's all about the acting. And everybody manages to do such a good job of acting just the right amount, where they're not overacting and they're not acting poorly.
Yeah.
If you enjoy movies, if you have any interest at all in the production process of movies or theater, I mean, because they're working on a theater project, but it is on a movie. If you have any interest in the production process of a movie or a theater project, this movie will have a lot to offer you. But even if you just like fucking comedy, it's a really goddamn funny movie.
Yeah, it is. Very much so. Very smart comedy.
Very smart comedy. You know what else is a really smart comedy that I've been watching lately? I'm very into. Have you gotten a chance to check out Silicon Valley?
No, I watched the first episode of it way back like years ago when it first came out, and I liked it. It was good. I don't know why I just never followed up on it, but I've heard a lot of good things about it though.
So all I can say is whenever I talk about smart comedies, people a lot of the time want to jump in with Big Bang Theory, and the problem with Big Bang Theory as a smart comedy is that it isn't fucking funny at all, and it's impossible to watch. So go ahead,
To me,
please.
sitcoms are just like so antiquated. Like I can't get into a sitcom
Right.
nowadays.
Not at all. But I recently started watching Silicon Valley, and as a person who is moderately into tech, I do some tech stuff on as a hobbyist. I do a little bit of stuff in school. I know a good amount of lingo as a tech person, and this show, they had absolutely they had actual software engineer consultants on this show making sure that they were using the proper language and they were talking about the right things. Like, it is a super fucking smart show. And with TJ Miller and Kumail Nanjiani, like, fucking hilarious people on the show. And the other guys, I don't even fucking know their names, but they fucking make me laugh my asshole off. And it's a Mike Judge film, you know. Mike Judge show, fucking King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Same creator as King of the Hill. If you guys like King of the Hill, I'm sure you'll fucking get into this. It's not a similar type of comedy to King of the Hill, but there are connections.
It's almost kind of like an opposite of King of the Hill.
It's very different. It's very different from King of the Hill. But, like, honestly, my brother, I don't even think he knows how to turn a computer on, but he loves this fucking show. He's watched every episode of it. He's all fucking caught up. And on the opposite side of that, from him, I'm a fucking like tech hobbyist, and I'm obsessed with it. So like, I would give Silicon Valley a shot if you guys got time. It's super fucking funny.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely check that out. I like I said, I watched the first episode way back when, but I just haven't followed through on it.
TJ Miller just kills me in everything.
Yeah, he's consistently really good.
He was the first thing I remember him from was She's Out of My League, how he had a Hall & Oates cover band. That was the
Hall & Oates.
Scene.
And then every time they would suggest playing a different song, he'd be like, "No, Hall & Oates.
We do Hall & Oates songs.
Hall & Oates.
We're a Hall & Oates cover band." It was so great.
Yeah, he does a lot of voice acting, TJ Miller. He's got a very distinctive
He does.
distinctive sound.
He was one of the guys on How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes.
I remember that. Speaking of animated things, or rather unanimated things, have you gotten a chance to see the Netflix Full Metal Alchemist non-animated movie?
No, I have not.
Well, let me give you my thoughts on it.
Now, I want to preface this by saying I wasn't really into the original Full Metal Alchemist anime.
Okay, did you watch Full Metal Alchemist or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
No, it was the original one.
The original one?
It was way back. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
So the anime that I watched was Brotherhood. And the Full Metal Alchemist movie on Netflix was not. It was based on Brotherhood. So don't have a ton of stuff to say about it. To be honest, I watched it. There's they do a really good job of sticking to the story. They do a very good job of sticking to the story, except for they cut out some characters like the big white guy with the little fucking curl on the little blonde curl on his forehead who does the stone magic,
Right.
and he's like in love with the two main characters. He was like kind of insinuatingly gay. Like
Wait a minute. I'm looking at pictures from it, and they looks like they're very faithful to the character
very,
design.
very, very faithful. And you know what else was really impressive about it was extremely good graphics. The graphics were fucking very
great.
pristine.
What's very odd to me though, okay, so they casted they've got a Asian dude playing the Edward character, right?
Yes.
It's funny to me when these movies come out and people get all outraged, like when Ghost in the Shell came out and they casted Scarlett Johansson, they get all outraged. Well, why couldn't you cast an Asian actress in that part? It's so stupid because
It's
it's
an
like
American movie.
you guys assume
like,
that
well, I mean-
because but okay, but it's kind of insulting to the people who create the series because okay, obviously if the series is made in Japan, let's say the characters are going to speak Japanese and whatnot.
Right.
But you guys assume that all the characters that they made are also intended to be Japanese. You don't know that.
Sure.
You know, that's not a guarantee, and it's an American movie, so who gives a shit? It's going to
that's
sell
what I was
better.
saying, so, yeah.
It's money. Like it's funny how people will jump and go.
First of all,
that's racist.
I don't care what race she is.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson as a naked robot is going to sell anywhere.
And the thing is, too, is people will automatically jump and go, that's racist that they didn't cast somebody who's Japanese. It's like, no, it's not race. It's made in the United States, and it's American movie where they're all speaking English. Like,
Right.
who cares? Like,
Right.
It's just about money at the end of the day. It's the same reason why when they make big, giant, like epic, like in China, there's a huge, there's a Chinese Hollywood where they have their
Right.
own market of movies. And they'll do these big, giant epics.
Which is also something that they touch on in Silicon Valley.
here's
when
the thing that's
this guy's stealing all these. This Chinese guy is stealing all these fucking American programs like Facebook and Google, and he has them as like Chinese Facebook, Chinese Google.
Well, and here's the thing that's ironic too is there was a movie that just came out, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like the biggest selling movie ever in China. It was the highest grossing movie in China, and it was like some like samurai type battle movie. I don't remember what it was called. But they had a white American dude starring in the main role.
47 Ronin.
Was that it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Unless that sold out in fucking China, but that was Keanu Reeves in 47 Ronin.
I don't know if it. No, it wasn't that. But they had.
By the way, I fucking love that movie. It was really disappointing. It was a huge disappointment, but there are reasons for why that is. Don't give up on 47 Ronin, okay? It was a cool movie.
Well, and so with Full Metal Alchemist, for example, the main character's name is like Edward, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think they're supposed to be like Victorian English.
right. So the show is based Victorian English, yet because it was made by Japanese people, you assume that they made this character Japanese. It's like so stupid.
Now
It's like,
here's-
so they can't make a piece of artwork that was based somewhere else.
Now Matt is branching off into the racial politics of the show. Now let me tell you guys what
let's bring it back down.
Let's bring it back down. No. I really love where you're going with that, but you kind of like once we got there, what I really wanted to point out was the things that I really like about the show, not just the movie, but the show and what the movie did well. I like creepy stuff. I like horror movie stuff, and I like dark things, but I also like badass fucking superhero shit. So in Full Metal Alchemist, it combines both of those really well. Full Metal Alchemist is based on the concept of the Philosopher's Stone, and they're seeking the Philosopher's Stone to restore their dead mother, and the main character Edward's brother, who didn't die, but his spirit wasn't killed, but he lost his body to like the ethereal world when they tried to transmute their mother out of materials in the beginning. So very creepy shit happened in that. Very dark stuff, where involving spirits and demons. And throughout the entirety of the show, there's this underlying theme of these sort of evil schemes, these dark schemes that happen based on these demon-esque characters called homunculi. And the homunculi are like people who can't die that have special gifted powers based on the fact that they were created in an unnatural way through through alchemy, which alchemy in this series is tantamount to magic. And the magic is limited in the sense that you can't create without the prior existence of something. Like there's a balance to it. There's as much give as there is take. One can't make gold out of rock or steel, so to speak. I suppose gold would come from rock if it was the right kind of rock. But in the movie does a really good job of taking some of my most iconic scenes of the show. Which of the like 67 episodes or something that it was quite a few episodes. The iconic scenes were spread out. There were very dark moments in certain specific areas that were only secluded to those points. And the movie seemed to hit all my favorite ones. Now, that being said, of all the things I liked about it, what I would really say about the movie is that if you're going to watch it very critically, you're going to hate it. Because the acting, even through the language and culture barrier, is so bad, it's almost unbearable. The acting is, you're watching it like in mild pain from how bad these fucking actors are. It is shocking. It's as if what I really noticed was it's as if they are trying to act as if they are anime characters in the animated version of the show, which doesn't work when you're a real flesh and blood human being. It doesn't make sense.
No, you have to adjust it.
You have to
Have you
adjust
heard,
it.
they've been talking about for years now. They've been talking about doing a live-action version of Akira and a live-action version of Cowboy Bebop. And I remember for the longest time, they were rumored to be having Keanu Reeves play Spike Spiegel.
God, I
was
would
like,
like
man,
that.
that would be perfect casting.
I would fucking love that.
Perfect casting.
I was about to get really uncomfortable when you were talking about this because Cowboy Bebop is literally like one of my favorite pieces of media of all time. Yeah. And but I could really see Keanu Reeves doing it because he looks Asian, but he isn't.
But he isn't. Well, he's from like I was really surprised the other day. I saw
he's
this
Canadian.
Video. He's Canadian,
yeah.
but he's not Canadian either.
What?
He was born in like Lebanon.
What?
So that explains the.
I always my entire life heard Keanu Reeves was Canadian.
He is Canadian. He grew up in Canada, but he was born. I think he was like a. I'll look it up right now. I think he grew up with foster parents in Canada. I want to say.
What I have heard is that on top of being a really cool guy, just in general, Keanu Reeves has a really dark life. Like his life has been like riddled with misfortune and people around him that he cares for dying and stuff, and like he gives most of his money to charity. Basically, he's like the best celebrity.
He was born in Beirut, Lebanon.
Wow.
But he is Canadian. He's listed as Canadian. He's 53. Jesus Christ, this guy ages good.
Yeah. Should we all be so lucky?
Yeah, so no, okay, and he wasn't adopted. Those are his real parents, but he just happened to be born in his father is American from Hawaii, is of Chinese, English, Irish, Native American, and Portuguese descent. So man, he's a mix of everything. His grandmother was Chinese and Hawaiian, though, so that explains it. He's got some Asian in him. He is Asian.
He's what we're all gonna look like in another 1,000 years when we're all completely mixed.
He is, yeah, because he's got everything.
Keanu Reeves is the gray American.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I didn't know that.
Did you hear about Bill and Ted?
No.
They're gonna do a new Bill and Ted. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter are both set to return, along with the series creator and original director.
What are they going to do about George Carlin?
I don't know.
I know George Carlin's out of the picture. That's obvious, but
look, it's Bill and Ted.
Are they gonna do like the Tupac and Michael Jackson thing where they just recreate him with graphics, or are they gonna just get some guy who looks kind of like that to play that character?
I don't know. I have no clue. But hey, they got Bill and Ted, all right?
I'm fucking happy about that. I love it.
Can you believe that? That movie's 31 years old now.
Who gives a shit? I love it.
Oh wait, no, it's not 31 because it came out in 89.
So it's not quite 31. An artful masterpiece like Bill and Ted does not age.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Bill and Ted. I heard a rumor that they were going to have the offspring of both of them in the movie, both of their children. So I'm kind of curious to see what route they take that.
I always worry about that when people do that, like when Johnny Depp and Kevin Smith.
No, not their actual. Sorry, not their real life children.
Oh, excuse me.
They'll just have kids in the movie.
All right, I was gonna say like when Kevin Smith and Johnny Depp, their children made Yoga Hosers, and it was one of the worst movies of all time. First of all, every opportunity in the world to make a decent movie, the fucking highest budget that you could fucking put, and great directing, great fucking writing staff, and they made fucking Yoga Hosers, which the only redeemable scene in that movie was fucking what's his name? God damn it, the funny guy. Oh God, why can't I think of his name right now? From Waiting.
The funny guy from Waiting.
Yeah, the main
Justin
character,
Long.
Justin Long, plays their yoga instructor, and he fucking kills it. I'm not. Gonna,
I could see Justin Long in that role.
I recommend you guys just watch the yoga instructor scene on Yoga Hosers. Don't watch the rest of the movie, but it's one of the funniest scenes of a movie ever. It's so fucking funny. But
his name is Hunter Calloway in the movie. Mm-hmm. Yogi Bear.
Yeah, he's Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear. That sounds pretty funny. I could see Justin Long in that role.
It's super good. The movie is unwatchable. It's literally like I've put myself through some fucking stinkers before. Don't worry. We watched Slaughter High this morning, but that is a god awful movie.
I've never actually sat down, and I had always heard it was really bad, but I never actually sat down and tried to watch it.
I don't recommend you try.
Yeah, it's that bad.
I got another bad movie for you that I wanted to kind of touch on. Did you hear about The Bad Batch with Jason Momoa?
I don't believe so. No.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you a little rundown of this. I want to preface this for everybody who's listening. Don't watch this movie because it sucks. But this is a movie that had everything going for it. Everything. All the potential in the world. It was a Mad Max civilization. Also Keanu Reeves, by the way.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
It's got Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa and Keanu Reeves. It's
Jim Carrey?
And Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey plays this homeless guy with no lines. And
what a waste.
Oh,
you have Jim Carrey in your movie and don't give him lines?
No lines.
That's like having Arnold Schwarzenegger in your movie and not having him like punch somebody.
Yeah, right?
Stupid.
Exactly. So Jim Carrey has no lines. He has a big disheveled beard, and he wears these sunglasses. So he's basically, you can't even really recognize him as Jim Carrey. Keanu Reeves is the leader of this sort of faction out in this Mad Max world. So the opening scene is this really pretty little cute blonde girl gets thrown into like the Bad Batch territory, which is like this spot in Texas, which is sort of a escape from New York kind of society where it's like, all right, when you've been deemed unfit for society, we put you here. Mm-hmm. Within this patch of desert where nobody can survive, there are these cannibals and there's a lot of dangers, and it's like, wow, this is interesting. Right off the bat, first scene of the movie, I'm not giving anything away by telling you this. This girl gets fucked up. They fucking kidnap her, and Jason Momoa saws off her fucking arm and leg, and
this happens to the main character.
Yeah,
Suki. Is it the Suki Waterhouse girl?
I don't know what her name is, but yeah, she's a cute blonde girl, real pretty. Yeah. Damn. She's got nudies, by the way. Suzuki Waterhouse or whatever.
Waterhouse.
Oh, Suki Waterhouse. She's a fucking cutie. She's got a nice little body, and she's got fucking selfies online. You guys look her up. But she's got bathroom selfies. But yeah,
just love the internet.
She just gets fucking she gets sawed up by Jason Momoa. Him and a party of people fucking eat her fucking arm and leg, and she escapes and ends up in this other encampment where Keanu Reeves is like the leader of this place, and he's giving everybody LSD and stuff, and he's just like, you know what, this place is paradise. We're having a good time out here. This is what life is about. And he's basically like giving everybody this whole cultic fucking preaching thing. So she gets her hands on a gun, and you think she's going to go on this fucking rampage. It's going to be really exciting, and and then she runs into Jason Momoa again, who's looking for his daughter, and you think there's going to be all this conflict, but there isn't. They just kind of end up hanging out with each other, and then they're like, cool. And
so was it one of those things where you think the director was trying to really like subvert people's expectations and just be like,
I think it was
different?
I think it was an attempt at that, but what it ended up being was a complete lack of plot.
Yeah.
Like what ended up happening was actually nothing. There was a bit of lead up. There was excellent setting. It was the setting was very exciting. They set the stage for a movie that you really wanted to watch. Everything up in the rising action was very exceptional. You're just like the way that the whole world looked, the characters were interesting, the way that you thought everything was going to go. It seemed very interesting, and then it sort of started to fade out. It started to fizzle out about a half hour into the movie. Then there was no climax, and then there was no falling action, and there was the end just happened. It just suddenly the credits started rolling. It was like nothing got resolved. There kind of wasn't a conflict aside from the fact that this girl wanted to get revenge and didn't, and then the movie just ended.
Sounds horrible.
It was really disappointing. And I actually was like looking at this movie for a while, waiting to watch it because I thought it appeared really interesting, and when it actually came about, it really wasn't.
Did we talk about Hotel Artemis?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's a new one coming out. It's got Dave Bautista. It's got Jodie Foster, a bunch of other big actors. It's about supposedly that's got a lot of hype around it. That one is it's about it's almost like you know how in John Wick they have the hotel for all the hitmen and stuff like that. Well, what did I say? Hotel Artemis? Is it called Hotel Artemis? Let me double check this.
Double check that. I'm gonna refresh my beverage.
Yeah. For those of you guys listening in, somebody out there knows, and they're probably like, "You're a fucking idiot."
It's not Hotel Artemis.
It's not Hotel Artemis, or it is Hotel Artemis.
Hotel Argentina.
Okay, it is Hotel Artemis. So remember in John Wick how they had the if you guys remember in John Wick, they have like a hotel for called the Continental for all the hitmen and stuff, and it's specifically for hitmen. Hotel Artemis is like I think it's like a hospital.
It's a hotel for doctors,
for killers. Or let me read the synopsis because I sound like a moron. Set in riot-torn near-future Los Angeles, Hotel Artemis is an original high-octane action thriller starring Jodie Foster as the nurse who runs a secret, members-only hospital for criminals. Jodie Foster is joined by an all-star cast that includes Sterling K. Brown, Sofia Boutella, Jeff Goldblum, Brian Tyree Henry, Jenny Slate, Zachary Quinto, Charlie Day, and Dave Bautista. So they got quite the rap sheet of actors here that are going to be in it.
There's at least 5 of them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hype around it. There's at least 5. And there's a lot of hype around it. I've heard a lot of like good things about it. There's no reviews up for it yet on Rotten Tomatoes, but heard it was good.
Oh, so what do we know about it? We just know that it's about killers in this exclusive... Killers in the sense of hitmen, or killers in the sense of like they're fucking murderers and this is like a safe haven?
It says criminals, so I think it's a mix of both. Okay. But I know that I first heard it because Dave Bautista was talking about it on an interview, and apparently whatever film festival they debuted it at, it got very high praise, and there was a lot of people wanting to pick it up and buy it, and so apparently it's supposed to be good.
Now, we've talked about this before on the podcast, but I'd like to reiterate this. I feel like this is a good point in time. I like Batista.
Back to Bautista.
Yeah. I think Batista is very self-aware. He seems like a really cool guy. He kind of is like the new The Rock. Like, he's breaking into movies, and he kind
seems
of,
like
in a
weird way, though,
guy.
He seems like less cocky than The Rock. He seems almost more
a lot of what we like about The Rock is how cocky he is.
For those of you that don't follow pro wrestling, that was the whole The Rock character. Yeah. He would just berate people, talk about how great he is. He called himself the great one.
Yeah.
So.
And Batista, on the other hand, is kind of just like this likable, kind of semi-arrogant. He kind of is Drax. Like his character reminds me of... His character in general reminds me a lot of Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I do have to critique myself from I was hating on Bautista a little bit in his MMA debut, but he actually has. I think they said he has a black belt. It's either a purple belt or a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Well, could have fooled me.
But, hey, this fight was a while back, so maybe he's. Improved since then.
You know what I don't think we touched on, because I did re-listen to that podcast that we recorded. I don't think we touched on this, and I meant to. His ground and pound was actually very good.
Was it? Well, how could it not be? He's a fucking gorilla.
Dude, I'm telling you, his balance and the way that he threw... First of all, for those of you who have no experience whatsoever in MMA, ground and pound is more art than skill. You can't really teach someone to be good at ground and pound. You can improve someone's ground and pound, but you can't really teach it. There's something about it where when you hit someone on the ground, when you get a dominant position and you strike someone, you are giving up balance. And there's a fine line between giving up balance and losing position, you know? Mm-hmm. And he did a really good job of throwing wide, hard swings without giving up his position and doing damage from the top. Like, I was very impressed with that. I think he did a really good job. And that was the biggest thing that I was impressed with. He had a really nice inline double to an outside single. Got a takedown with that. Not that Scott Coker had a chance of stopping that, but
Scott Coker.
But once he got him down, he started doing some real effective ground and pound.
And he it says here, most recently he trained at Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu under Cesar Gracie and has become a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know if that means he got his purple belt from Cesar Gracie, but if he did, that's a pretty legit purple belt.
Cesar Gracie?
About as legit as it gets.
Yeah.
So yeah, big ups to Dave Bautista. Sorry if we were a little critical of you there, Dave.
Dave, if you're listening, we like you. We're fans.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dave Bautista. I always thought he always had a really good sense of humor to him in WWE. Like when he became Bautista, when he first came out in WWE, was very much. They always debut big guys like Dave Bautista and Brock Lesnar the same way in WWE. They come out and they just fucking destroy some really tiny dudes.
Yeah.
Like they just power bomb the shit
They just
out of them.
put him out there with some little
Yeah.
like fucking Japanese guy.
Yeah, it's always the same shit.
Like fucking Fedor style and
Yeah,
Pride. Just put him in with
exactly.
some fucking.
And
little...
and in pro wrestling terms, they call them like big guys or heaters or they're just big dudes. But when he first came out, that's what he was. And then later on, when he turned heel, turned into a bad guy, they allowed him to be more of a kind of outlandish character. And there's this really funny segment they had him do, like when he first left WWE in 2010, where he's sitting in the ring with a cast on his arm and like a sling, and he's in a wheelchair and he's got sunglasses on and he's got a black eye and he's got a mic in his hand, and he's just like yelling into the microphone about how the fans don't appreciate him enough, and he's going to leave this toilet and go to Hollywood, and he's threatening to quit, and the audience is just like cheering for him to quit, and he's like, "You want me to do it? I quit."
And
then he
before
just
you know it,
left.
he's one of the biggest actors in fucking Hollywood.
That's the ironic part about
yeah.
it. Is he quit, he left, and he's in the biggest movie of all time now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Has a huge role in one of the biggest movies of
Yeah.
all time.
Pretty nuts.
And you know what? Good for him. I thought it was fucking dope when I saw him on Man with the Iron Fists, and he was the fucking
Yeah.
like metal guy.
That was one of his earliest.
He was brass body. Yeah.
That was one of his earliest roles. He also played.
Also,
He played. What's his name in the Kickboxer remake?
yeah, he was Tong Po, but that was more recent. That was
Yeah.
very recent, actually. I'd like to throw that out for you guys who enjoy kung fu style movies. This movie did not get very popular, and a lot of people disliked it for a number of reasons, which I can absolutely appreciate. But Man with the Iron Fists followed a very classical kung fu style. Like Wu-Tang, they're kung fu fans.
They're also they're also really into. They're just like dorks. They're like the original dorks of
Yeah.
hip hop because they're
Yeah.
really into comic books. I know. I remember listening to an interview. I think.
Well, that's what I fucking like about them.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I remember I was listening to an interview with either the RZA or Method Man, and they were talking about how they just like loved the Silver Surfer growing up, and they were really into
well, they make references.
cosmic side of the Marvel universe. So they must be loving all
Yeah.
these fucking Avengers movies.
Well, they fucking make references in all their fucking songs about that shit.
Yeah.
Like, but it was really like I fucking liked Man with the Iron Fists for a lot of reasons. I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not saying it was everything that I wanted it to be, but it was a definitely exciting and super fun movie.
I think I watched that with you. I want to say
Probably.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Netflix released a sequel to Man with the Iron Fists
No
that
way,
was
really?
about a quarter of the budget.
Isn't that how
And
it
it
always
had-
happens?
it
So you're
had,
telling me it's the Never Back Down 2
Oh
of
yeah,
that universe?
No. And you know what? It wasn't that bad. It was still shitty.
Did anybody return to do any of the originals?
No, just RZA and Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. I don't know what the guy's real
They
name
had
is.
Shang Tsung in
yeah,
it?
he was on that. And
Wow, I love that dude.
yeah, he was great. He's a fucking classic action movie guy.
It's a shame he hasn't been in more.
Yeah, well, he has been in a lot of shit though, but like you gotta kind of look for it.
Wait a
But
minute. Oh, RZA did the screen. Are you sure
Yeah.
RZA wasn't in the second one?
RZA was in the.
Oh,
second
you said he
one.
was.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
he was
sorry.
the main character in the second.
That's
one.
right. Yeah, 'cause it shows
He was
him there.
actually more involved in the second one than he was in the first one.
Yeah, this
'Cause
one it says he did the screenplay, story, starring. He didn't direct.
It wasn't that bad. It was. It really like for how cheap it was. I feel like the budget didn't match the story. The screenplay, I don't know about all that. Like it was a little rough on the writing. You could tell like the acting wasn't as bad as the writing was, but it was good. I liked the action of it. It was fun to watch.
The guy who played Shang Tsung, his name is Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa.
That's a bit of a mouthful. That's a full name.
Apparently, he's Japanese, United States, and Russian. Huh.
Wow. a gentleman of the world.
He's an American actor, sports psychologist, martial artist, and stuntman.
Wow.
It's so interesting.
He'd be a great guy to have on the podcast. We should reach out to him. Yeah.
So interesting. It's just so interesting in the amount of shit you could find out just by simply like just Googling somebody. In 2013, Tagawa started working with Orthodox Christian actors.
Specifically,
he was baptized in 2015 in the Russian Orthodox Joy of All Sorrow Church in Moscow. So apparently, he's quite religious, I want to say.
he seems like he's evangelical.
He's really into this stuff. Quite interesting. Yeah, he should be in more stuff.
Yeah, I fucking love him. He was dope as Shang Tsung. It's weird that he usually plays villains.
He was the perfect Shang Tsung.
How could someone be a better Shang Tsung than he was? Your brother's asshole is mine.
How about Robin Shu? Is that his name, Robin Shu, who played Liu Kang?
Is that who?
I think so.
I don't know what his fucking name is.
I think it's Robin Shu.
Sounds good to me.
He was great as Liu Kang too. That whole
The guy from Beverly Hills Ninja?
yeah, that's what he's forever gonna be known for.
Dude, he's the brother on Beverly Hills Ninja. It's fucking great.
Yeah, Robin Shu or Shao. He's already 57. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but he'll never age. He's Asian.
No, he looks really good. I saw something with him recently, and I was like so shocked at how great he looks. Apparently, he was in.
Does he still have an 18-pack?
I don't know. I'm gonna
Like,
Google a
he's
picture
got
of Robin
the
Shu.
most shredded abs ever. Like,
Robin Shu 2018.
Robin Shu abs 2018.
Hopefully he does. More power to him if he
Yeah,
does.
I fucking hope he does. This is one of my childhood.
Doesn't show any
idols.
pictures with any pictures of his abs now. Just
Yeah.
here's one that I don't know how recent that is. This guy still looks good though. Still looks like he's doing the thing. He's out there making it happen. Good for him. I'm more impressed with his chest than his abs personally. I'm also impressed with his lack of nipple. He seems to have no nipple.
His nipple to pec ratio was always impressive.
There's zero nip there. He's just like a perfectly sculpted action figure with no
Yeah.
nip.
Just a
Weird.
little dash of pink there, just to let you know that he's a human being.
There's like nothing. It's like on his under. I'm pretty sure he was taking some growth hormone.
Well, it's like
He's got a little guy.
Do you remember Josh Little Big Sanchez?
I just saw him not that long ago.
Yeah, he
was in our gym not
I've
that
been
long
in
ago.
touch with him lately on like Instagram and stuff. Like, classic Team Terror, shout out, boom. But I remember him telling me, I think it was about his brother. He was saying like, as buff as he was for how small he was like, my brother's like twice as strong as me. His nipples point at the ground. It's like, if you look straight at him, you can't even tell.
Once
like,
you're, that's funny. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, but once your pecs really start to get developed, your nipples just drop, right?
yeah, they just point straight down because what are you supposed to do? Like, where do your nipples go? When your muscles start pushing so far out, your nipples can't stay in front of that forever.
No, they got to go somewhere. Well,
So,
got anything else to cover here?
Yeah, there's a couple things I've seen recently that I just wanted to throw out there. Did you catch Batman Ninja yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
The 3D wrapped anime.
I saw the trailer for it and everything. It looks really, really good, I think. But I've heard
okay.
it was great.
So I was concerned about Batman Ninja when I watched the trailer for it because one, loved it in theory. I thought this looked like a really cool movie, but I really didn't like the animation style. I do not like it when they take anime and they make it kind of 3D. We talked about this before about Berserk. It was that same type of.
But there has been instances where I do like it. Like I like when they did it in the Animatrix.
Sure.
But yeah, generally I agree with you. I don't like it for the most part.
Most of the time, I'm concerned. I don't like it. But I took a couple notes on Batman Ninja. I thought it was first of all, awful title.
Yeah,
Like,
they could have came up
like,
with something better.
They could
than
have
that.
done a little better than that.
Even if they just did Ninja Batman.
Yeah, if they just
that
put
sounds better.
If they reversed the title to Ninja Batman, then that would have been like
waves better, but that's okay.
At least it's very self-explanatory. It gets to the
this
point.
is Batman Ninja.
You know what
This
you're
isn't-
getting into
yeah.
when you're watching Batman Ninja.
So, pretty cool. So, Grodd, Gorilla Grodd, the psychic super genius gorilla, creates a time
He's a famous
machine.
Flash villain.
Right, but DC villains are interchangeable. So, he creates a time machine, basically takes Batman back in time with his friends and villains and everything. And they end up, for some reason, in Japan when they go back in time. Something about that animation style, I just felt like I was watching a cutscene on a video game. That was the thing that just really took me out of it. Is I was waiting for a break where I was going to start playing Batman. You know, it really felt like that. And now, what they did though that really helped a lot was the background scenes, like the scenery of the movie was hand drawn, and it had a very classical Japanese style, like with the cherry blossoms and the sunsets and mountain ranges, the very classical Japanese art style. It was very beautiful, very perfect, and it really helped with recapturing your attention. It was very nice to look at. There was a couple interesting things that I am recounting now as I go over my notes, but there was one point where Batman where Bruce Wayne he meets up with Catwoman, who happens to have also been transported back in time, and he goes undercover as a monk. Now, you know how monks sometimes shave the top of their head in a perfect circle, that as like,
Isn't that like mandatory as a monk?
right? That's a monk thing.
You know, one time I was at Albertsons in Rio Grande, and I saw a group of like 12 monks.
Well, there's a
Just shopping.
I think there's a monastery in like Pismo, isn't there?
Oh,
There's
no
a
shit.
Buddha-
Maybe that's where they were
no,
from.
I'm not sure. I might be thinking of something else.
But they looked like they were straight from China. Like, I'm
I-
pretty sure they were tourists.
Okay, well, I think there's a Buddhist monastery in Pismo, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that. But
It's probably just a hand job parlor.
it might be just
That's
a
what it
hand job
sounds like
parlor.
to me.
So
It's a Buddhist hand job parlor.
So Bruce Wayne has the top of his head shaved,
Mm-hmm.
but on the top of his head, where it's shaved, the monk style head shave, he has a bat symbol for some fucking reason. I can't explain
hilarious.
this. I can't make sense out of it. I don't know why that is. For some reason, on his bald spot, there is a full-blown
symbol.
bat symbol filling it in.
So you don't like that.
That I disapprove of, because it doesn't make any sense, especially for the fact that he's trying to blend in. He's just pretending to be a monk. He's hanging out and like...
Well, yeah, you're right. That doesn't make it. I
But-
was going to try and defend
yeah,
it in some way,
defend
just
it.
because I love the idea of somebody having
No,
a
no.
bat signal shaved into their head. But
I fucking do too! I want to see... I want to walk out into the world and see someone looking like that. I want to see that happen. But it doesn't make any fucking sense for this particular...
there is somebody out there who has this already.
I fucking guarantee you. And if there isn't yet, there is now.
There should be.
I hope we have that effect on the world, that there's some monk out there with a bat symbol tattooed on the top of their head.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is a pretty brutal scene where the Red Hood, Jason Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, all of the Robins are present in this movie. All of them.
All of the Robin?
All of the Robins. There's
Do they just play like different Robins?
Dick
or-
Grayson, Jason Todd. Dick Grayson is there as Nightwing. Jason Todd's there as Red Hood, and then there is Red Robin. I don't know who Red Robin is. I've never fucking heard of that.
He
He serves
burger
burgers.
he serves. He has a utility belt full of unlimited French fries.
full of French fry seasoning. No, I don't know who Red Robin is. I've never fucking heard of Red Robin before. I'm a fucking big Batman fan, and I've never fucking heard of Red Robin.
Maybe they made him.
And
up
then
just for the
and then
movie.
Damien is there too. And for some reason, Damien is a very normal Robin. He just acts the way you would expect Robin to act. You know how Damien is sort of characterized by his defiance of Batman.
You know what? I'm sorry. I just Googled Red Robin. I have seen this character before.
Which one is Red Robin?
I don't even know. I don't know any info on him. I just remember I had some comics that had him in
He
them.
just looks like Robin from here.
Well,
like,
the version I seen was this one where he's got the like the mask thing over his face.
Okay.
But the one I'm assuming the one they had.
That looks
was
a
the one
little
without the
basic.
mask.
I've never seen that before. I'm still unfamiliar with Red Robin. Also, again, you guys, shoot us some comments. Talk some shit about me not knowing who Red Robin is. I'd love to hear it. But so Damien is very is very Robin-esque. He's very subservient. He's more of like a Dick Grayson style Robin, where he's very just like, okay, Batman, what do we do? Like,
Jason Todd?
No, Damien.
Oh, Damien. Okay.
Jason Todd is Red Hood, and so Jason Todd has
Jason's like a little prick.
dude. Jason Todd has a very interesting scene. Very interesting. Like, they changed the animation style and everything for Jason Todd's scene. So Jason Todd has a very violent scene where he approaches an amnesiac Joker and Harley Quinn and fucking assaults them brutally. They are living a peaceful life on a farm, raising crops.
Are they like reformed?
They're literally
villains?
amnesiac. They do not remember.
Oh, they
being,
know nothing.
Yeah, they know nothing. And Jason Todd, like, violently assaults them and puts a gun in Joker's face and all kinds of crazy shit. Let me see. And I don't want to give too much away about that scene, so I'm just gonna let you guys marinate on that. But
Yeah, I'd been wanting to see that. So, and I heard it's gotten like a lot of really high praise. So
I wouldn't give it too high a praise, but it is good. It's not my favorite of the Batman or DC animated movies. There's another scene where Grodd is forming a revolution, and he throws the quote out there, "Let's get down to business," and I couldn't help but reference Mulan in that sense.
Yeah.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
Would you agree? Batman Ninja currently has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Would you agree with that assessment?
83% is good. I think that's a fair assessment.
However, 52% of the audience liked it.
52% is fucking half. What do you want me to say about that?
Would you say it's somewhere in between?
I think it's better than a 50%. I think it was good. I liked it.
I don't even care about the audience score anyways, because the audience are idiots. So
there was a point where, oh, you know what? Okay, here's something. They over Japanified it. All right, I fucking forgot about this till I found this in my notes right now. All right, so they over Japanified it where they there was a point in the end of it where it became like a Transformers style thing, where there's a giant Batman and giant robots,
like a mech suit.
Yeah,
and all that shit.
and there was a large amount of high advanced technology in the. There's a high technology in feudal Japan, and it was like, all right, that kind of it defies the point in the sense that we are watching this to watch Ninja Batman, not fucking super high tech Batman. You know, we want to watch Batman with swords and fucking no technology.
Yeah. So we did find
there is someone.
We did find somebody with a Batman symbol shaved into their head. Not
So-
quite what I expected.
Just to let you guys know, well, yeah, I didn't realize how unclearly I explained this. It was the monk style perfect circle shaved into his head,
Right.
and he had a bat symbol tattooed onto his head.
Wait, so was the bat symbol was
So as to say
he had
that
both?
Bruce Wayne,
a tattoo separate from the monk style thing?
so the monk shaved head, and within the shaved bald portion of his head, there was a tattoo of the bat
okay,
symbol.
all right. Now I finally get it. I also found a picture of a girl who has the bat symbol tattooed on her boobs.
God,
And
I
it's
would
a
smash.
Horrible tattoo.
Horrible tattoo, but I would smash.
Have you ever seen? You probably have seen it, but I just watched the other night Harold and Kumar go to Guantanamo Bay. Have you ever seen that?
Awful.
So-
Unbearable.
So I watched it for the first time in like 10 years the other night. It wasn't great, but I did find certain parts of it surprisingly funny.
Oh no! It was funny. It was funny. It was like it's one of those super awful funny things.
Yeah, what I was really, and we touched on this before, but as I was watching it, what I was really surprised by, it was like, man, this movie really couldn't be made today. Like, it is so un-PC in every way possible. I mean, they literally go to Guantanamo Bay and have to escape. And like, there's a scene that just had me dying laughing, and it's where the guard comes in and he tells them they're gonna have to eat a cock meat sandwich. And they're like asking him what a cock meat sandwich is, and then the guard like tells them to get on their knees, and they're about to have to eat the cock meat sandwich, and the other two terrorists that are in the cell next to him are laughing at him. They're like, "Oh, they have to eat the cock meat sandwich." I just thought that was hilarious. That was the main part that stood out for me.
Harold and Kumar really impressed me with their ability to make simple humor super funny. Like, one of my all-time favorite moments in a movie as far as humor goes is bullets, my only weakness. How did you know?
Yeah, Harold and Kumar, I feel like they're almost kind of... I loved in the first Harold and Kumar the extreme dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, extreme cheddar.
Extreme cheddar.
There's like a scene when they're driving. Did you ever see Better Luck Tomorrow?
No.
Okay, that's a deep reference because it was this movie that came out. It's a really, really good movie, actually. It was directed by Justin Lin, the guy who would later go on to do a bunch of the...
Justin Long, just
no,
so you
Justin
know.
Lin.
We spoke about him earlier, but we're not referencing
Justin
him.
Lin would later go on to do a bunch of Fast and Furious movies. Oops. But it's this really, really... You would love this movie.
Okay.
It takes place in, like, I want to say 2001 or 2002. Very 2000s. But it's about this group of like Asian kids who get involved in all this kind of drug gang type activity, and it's like and they end up killing a dude, and it's a very interesting movie. Like, you have to see, if you guys out there haven't seen Better Luck Tomorrow, you've got to see this. But there's a scene in Harold and Kumar. It's after the extreme dudes are driving the way, and one of them goes like, "Think you'll come again," and then the other one goes, "Better luck tomorrow." And I just thought it was such a little deep cut. But yeah, there's a lot of really solid jokes in those movies. I forgot how funny they were. I was quite impressed with it. They even had Harold and Kumar 3D. I forgot about that.
I don't want to bring it back to this too much, but I did want to finish my notes on this movie because we were talking about it on the Ninja Batman thing. Mm-hmm. Though that is interesting. I do want to check that out, and I'd love to talk about that on a later date. But there were a few references on Ninja Batman that I felt deeply connected to one of the best Joker media that has ever been created, was the Killing Joke, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Jason Todd's Red Hood, which has in multiple times been referenced as a recreation of the Joker's Red Hood from The Killing Joke, where he originally became the Joker. His Red Hood looked like the original one. On the movie, it looked like the original Red Hood, where it was awkwardly tall and it was oddly shaped. It looked like a Japanese version of it, where it was like made of wicker, kind of. It was patchy. But Jason Todd's Red Hood looked like the Joker's Red Hood, where it was tall and awkwardly shaped. And then there was a rooftop scene between Batman and the Joker, where the Joker sort of forced Batman to decide whether or not he was going to kill him. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to give too much away here. This is sort of a spoiler. if you are still, I'm trying to give you ample time to pause and skip ahead. If you
haven't skipped ahead by now, you deserve to be spoiled.
You deserve to be spoiled. So what happens is Batman does throw him off the roof, but then Batman throws his Batarang and saves him. And Batman is left there kind of panting like I was actually going to kill him. And it reminds me of the ending to Killing Joke where it ends ambiguously, where Alan Moore leaves you in suspense wondering, does Batman kill him right now? Batman comes to this very existential reasoning where he wonders, is the only way out of this to actually kill him?
Yeah, that's kind of the perpetual... I feel like ever since they did that originally in The Killing Joke, that moment they've used that a couple times where it's not quite the same, but it's like similar to that, where it's like you can really tell Batman's struggling with that.
Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why I really love The Killing Joke is because of the connection that Batman has with the Joker in that one. The Joker tells a joke, and I never forget this from the first time I fucking heard it, where Batman has the Joker fucking dead to rights. They're on a rooftop, and Batman is begging him. He's like, "Don't make me kill you, please." Like, he's like, "Just come with me, let me put you away, let's just end all this madness." And the Joker says, "You know why I can't do that, right?" It's like, this reminds me of a joke. Two madmen escape from a mental asylum one night, and they climb onto the roof. And they look across, and one of them jumps to the next rooftop easily, doesn't even think about it. The other one looks, and he's scared, and he doesn't want to jump across. So the other one shines a light across with his flashlight, and he says, "Don't worry, I'll just shine this light across and you can walk across the beam." And the one who's afraid looks at him and says, "What do you think, I'm crazy? You'll just turn it off as soon as I'm halfway between the buildings." And that is referential to the relationship that the Joker and Batman have with each other. Neither one can trust the other to do what they're supposed to do. The Joker is a killer and a madman, and Batman is a fucking crazy person too. They're both insane. Obviously, Batman puts on a fucking bat costume and fights criminals against the law. Mm-hmm. And neither of them can trust the other to the extent of falling off of a building. But it's just it's an interesting reference point for the characters. But anyway, I felt like that was an interesting point at the end of that movie. Where it kind of touched on that, but it didn't mention the joke. It just really was a matter of perspective, being on the rooftop and throwing him off and deciding whether or not he was going to kill him in the end. And in The Killing Joke, it doesn't really show if Batman kills him or not. It just has this moment where they both start laughing their asses off together, and it's very critical of each other's character. It's very like, you remember that, Matt? Mm-hmm. Where it's very telling of each other's characters. But yeah, I thought that was very, very interesting how they kind of touched on that in an entirely different Batman story.
You know what I started thinking of? Just right now. I can't stop thinking about Harold and Kumar now. And I was thinking, since we were talking about Bill and Ted earlier, what if they did a Harold and Kumar, Bill and Ted crossover?
Well, Harold and Kumar really is kind of like the newer Bill and Ted, because Bill and Ted was the stoner pair of
Did
fucking
Bill and
guys.
Ted? I haven't seen Bill and Ted in a really long
They
time.
didn't smoke weed.
It was kind of like PG, right?
It was before it was really okay to just like smoke weed on TV. Like you couldn't be protagonists and smoke weed.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah. No. If Bill and Ted had been made in 2001, they would have smoked weed. Because that was basically, you had like, dude, it was very like, that's when it became mainstream. You had like, Dude, Where's My Car, where they're both stoners and.
What's the guy's name that played Death on Bill and Ted 2? Do you know?
No, I would have to go back. I know
Could
who
you
you're
look
talking
that up
about.
real
Yeah,
quick?
I gotta look that up.
I love that actor. He's
Bill and
really
Ted's
good.
Bogus Journey, right?
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, yeah.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Yeah, the guy. Yeah, fuck, I forgot about that guy. William Sadler. Sadler.
He's great.
He was in. He's been in. That guy's been in a lot.
No,
of
that guy's
movies.
been in a lot of movies.
Shawshank Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Disturbing Behavior. Oh, he was the guy from fucking. What do you call it? He was in fucking. What was Bordello? No, not.
Yeah, not Bordello of Blood.
Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night.
Demon Night.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Demon Night was good.
Billy Zane.
Yeah,
And
Billy Zane's
fucking
the best.
what's
Dude,
her
Billy
name?
Zane is so charismatic in that movie.
What's her name?
I don't know.
The Bill or Will
Jada
Smith?
Pinkett Smith?
Jada Pinkett Smith. Bill Smith.
That was Kim's first opportunity to
Yeah.
ever assist on the podcast.
Yeah, and she just
She
blew it.
completely-
I wasn't listening, to be honest.
blew it.
Kim just fucked up majorly. No, Jada Pinkett. Hey,
She's good.
Did you know I hugged Jada Pinkett Smith once?
Really?
Yeah.
How?
You never heard this story?
No.
All right, so there's a band.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you guys a little background here. There's a band called Wicked Wisdom. They're a metal band. They opened for Seven Dust in about 2006, 2007. Anyway, on my birthday at House of Blues, before the Hollywood House of Blues was closed down. And Jada Pinkett Smith, under the alias Jada Corin, sings for that band.
What?
Yeah.
You know what? I have
And
heard this before
I was-
on a. She was on like a radio. She was
Yeah.
being interviewed and she talked about this.
So she talked about hugging me or what? No.
Yeah, she was talking about how she
She's like, I met this white guy and
This
he
white
was
dude
so
and-
goddamn handsome.
Yeah.
And he just was like,
Yep, that was it.
no, I saw her. She, no shit, got the show going. Like, there was a band before them that nobody remembers because they fucking were not interesting. And then Wicked Wisdom really got the crowd going. I remember being upstairs and watching my dad start a mosh pit during Wicked Wisdom.
Wow.
And it was super funny. My dad's a fucking gangster.
She
And
performed at Ozfest in 2005.
They were great, dude. They were. I don't know how good their songs are because I haven't listened to them since, but they were very good live and very exciting band. They had a great energy. And I saw her by the door to. I didn't know it was Jada Pinkett Smith at the time. Mm-hmm. I saw her by the door when near the exit, and I was like, you guys were so amazing, and she was like, oh, thank you, and she grabbed me and gave me a hug.
Wow.
All fucking sweaty. I got Jada Pinkett sweat all over me.
She seems like a really cool, like,
She's awesome.
down to earth kind of.
And back in Demon Night days, she was fucking hot.
Yeah, that was a young
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett
But
Smith.
Young, sexy Jada Pinkett getting what would you call it? Like,
It was
kinda-
borderline, kind of erotic.
yeah, it was. She
That
was
movie
kind of
had a
being,
very erotic undertone.
she was being swooned by Billy Zane.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. I don't know.
And who wouldn't be swooned by Billy Zane?
Who wouldn't be swooned by Billy Zane before he did all those awful movies? Dear God.
Yeah, he hasn't had a good track record as of late.
No, I think he must have fucked someone over in the Illuminati. Like, he fucked somebody's wife, and they were like, you're only
probably-
going to do
well,
sci-fi original
He probably
classics.
fucked Jada Pinkett Smith on the set of Demon Night, and Big Willie style was like, not
He's all,
happening.
nope,
We
you're,
did do Titanic
you're not
after
famous
that, so-
anymore.
Yeah.
That was after that.
That was after that.
Okay, all right.
Well,
I think that is as good a place as any to leap off with. I'm proud of you guys for hanging in. This is our longest podcast yet.
This was quite the podcast. How long did we go for?
Dude, we're almost 3.5 hours in.
Man.
Can we hold it out for 4 more minutes to make it 3:30?
We could, but I feel like it would just be filler.
At this point, it would really just be extra shit.
Take me to the gym and work out.
Yeah.
Wrap this up.
Matthew, I think we've done it again one more time. I'm super proud of this podcast. It was really awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, come join me on my Instagram and Facebook page, facebook.com/BoneCatrone and Instagram &BoneCatrone.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me on ML_intrinsic resistance on Instagram. Also Matt Reviews Media on Instagram. And yeah.
And for my sister, Kim Loves Rupee on Instagram. You can see all the pictures of her dog, Rupert.
He's a yellow
lab golden retriever mix. He's fat and lazy, and he will eat anything you hand to him.
Yeah. He likes treats, bones,
And the beach.
and the beach.
Treats, bones, and the beach. It has been a blast, you guys. Thanks for joining us today. This was a fucking lot of fun. I fucking love this. All right. Signing out. Matt, last words?
Peace out, playa.
Thanks again. Have a good night.